once again, and for the final time, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Morning, everyone. Thank you for making out time to join us today. On behalf of the Committee of E-Business Industry Heads, I'd like to welcome you all to the Q3 Forum, themed Navigating the Future of Contactless Payments, Adoption Challenges and Success Strategies. Before we commence the event for today, I'd like us first to take the national anthem before we commence. So may we all rise for the national anthem, please? Thank you. The new one, please. All right, thank you very much. I think there's quite improvement in the new national anthem. Before now, when we play this national anthem, our lips will just be sealed, but now it's quite contactless. It's going open and close, right? That's good. So once again, welcome all the distinguished ladies and gentlemen who made our time to join us physically here. You can see here it's quite full, we're quite contactful. And also the guests online, our participants online also, we have about close to 500 right now on YouTube and Zoom. Thank you all for joining online and also waiting for us to start. I know you must have definitely consuming your data right now. Thank you for joining. Like I earlier mentioned, today we're discussing contactless payments, right? This happens every quarter, brought to you by CeBIH and our lovely sponsors. This happens every quarter. It gathers various industry stakeholders from the CAD schemes to the PTSPs, the PTSAs, and all industry stakeholders to deliberate on insightful topics within the payment ecosystem. With us here today are some key guests. One is Mrs. Titilayo Olubi, the Director of Financial Institution, Unified Payments Services Limited. Thank you, ma'am, for making it here today. Also, we have, in no particular order, by the way, we have Mr. Ugo Obasi, the COO, Afrigo Financial Services Limited. Thank you, sir. Also, Uchenna Nodem, the CEO, Bankbox. Thank you, sir. Then we also have Michael Oluwole, the co-founder, COO, Touch and Pay Technologies. Thank you. We also have Frank Atta, the Divisional Head, Payment and Solutions, First City Monument Bank. Thank you, sir. We have Nkebet Mesele, the Senior Director of Solutions Management, Visa Sub-Saharan Africa. Thank you very much. And Wale Farrell, the founder, netplus.com, ably represented by, or it perhaps online, so, okay. All right, we move ahead. Just to introduce myself also. My name is Oscar Moma. I head products and partnerships in Globals Bank. I also serve as a Secretary Publicity and Advocacy in the Committee of EU Business Industry Heads. But today, I'll be your moderator. Thank you. Thank you. Before we commence, the next item on the agenda, by the way, if you can also just, I mentioned that earlier, for those that just joined us, you could actually scan the QR code to see the agenda and also to ask questions when that comes up. And can you also display that on the screen, please, for others to scan that? Thank you. So, next item on the agenda is the introduction of our host. But before we do that, we have a message from the chairman of CeBIH. Thank you.
I am incredibly honored and excited to step into the role of chairman for the Committee of E-Business Industry Heads. This moment is truly special to me, and I want to share my enthusiasm and gratitude with each of you. As I take on this new chapter, I am filled with profound sense of purpose and determination. My goal is to drive the adoption of electronic banking services through innovative technologies, sound policies, robust standards, and increased public awareness. My mission is clear and it comes from the heart. Ensuring Nigeria remains at the forefront of digital banking excellence. To achieve this, I will focus on 3 key areas that I'm deeply passionate about: contactless payments, fraud management, and advocacy. First is contactless payments. In today's world, speed and convenience are more important than ever. I am committed to championing the adoption of contactless technology, making transactions seamless and efficient for our customers. This isn't just a technological advancement. It's about making life easier and more convenient for everyone. Second is fraud management. As we embrace digital banking, we must also ensure that our security measures are top-notch. I will work tirelessly with our members, law enforcement agencies, and regulators to combat fraud. Ensuring our systems are secured and maintaining our customers' trust is a responsibility I take very seriously. Together, we will set new standards in fraud prevention and protection. Lastly is advocacy. Raising public awareness is crucial in driving the adoption of electronic banking. I am dedicated to leading initiatives that will educate and inform the public about the benefit of safety of e-banking. By fostering a culture of trust and transparency, we can encourage more Nigerians to embrace digital banking channels and improve their financial lives. As we move forward, I am reminded that our strength lies in our collaboration and shared vision. Together, we will achieve our set goals and beyond, ensuring that Nigeria stands tall as a leader in global e-banking landscape. Thank you for your unwavering support and commitment. I am excited about the journey ahead and look forward to driving the future of banking together with you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are very responsive. Another round of applause for the chairman, CeBIH, please. Before he goes, okay, yeah, he's coming on stage right now. The emperor himself, the lion, the Indaboski of payments, aka Lagos Bajimo. Give it up for Jibade Lawa. Thank you.
Oscar, you won't get paid. Good morning, everyone. Chairman is greeting. It's not me that I increase the fuel price, so, because I know that you guys are here, you'll be calculating how much data did I used to get in this place. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you today to CeBIH 2024 Q3 Industry Forum. Apparently, my first as CeBIH chairman. Clap now. As we delve into a subject of immense relevance a transformative potential, which is navigating the future of contactless payments. We stand at the forefront of this technological evolution, and our focus is not only on embracing this innovation, but also on addressing the challenges of adoption and crafting strategies that will lead us to success. The approval by the Central Bank of Nigeria for the commercial rollout of contactless payments in Nigeria is a testament of CeBIH's commitment to innovation and excellence. I remember that time we championed it, we wrote letters, we brought in stakeholders together, some of you are here in this room, PTSPs, switches, schemes, everybody, and we worked with the Central Bank to come up with this, the directive of contactless and how it will work. But since the Central Bank issued us that license, almost 2 years now, we have not seen the uptick. And you can, from my opening remarks initially, I told you that 3 things are special to me: contactless, fraud management, and advocacy. So, being the first forum, I said, let's talk about contactless. What are even the issues? And I know that people disturbing Nigeria on contactless is not Tinubu, it's people in this room. So we decided to bring all of us together. Let's discuss it. This is the second time we're having something like this, but from today we'll come up with strategies that we want to use to ensure that this thing comes into reality in Nigeria. It is a step towards a future where convenience, security, and customer satisfaction are not just aspirations, but realities. Contactless payment is more than just a trend. It represents a fundamental shift in how we conduct transactions. The promise of this technology lies in its ability to offer unparalleled convenience, speed, and security. With a simple tap or wave of hand, consumers can complete their transactions quickly, enhancing their overall experience and aligning with the demands of a fast-paced world. While contactless payment offers enhanced security features, the rise of new technology also brings new risk. To manage this risk, protecting against fraud and data breaches is paramount. We must continually upgrade, update, and fortify our security measures to safeguard our customers. Even with the benefit of contactless payments, consumer adoption can be gradual. It is essential to educate our consumers about the advantages of this technology and address any concerns they may have to encourage widespread use. One of the foremost challenges is integrating contactless payment systems with our existing infrastructure. Ensuring compatibility across various platforms and devices require careful planning and execution. We must also consider the scalability of these systems as our needs and transactions volume evolve. To navigate these challenges effectively, we must implement strategic approaches, focus on several key areas such as customer experience, technology integration, and staying ahead of potential threats by implementing the latest security measures and adhering to industry standards and regulation. Develop clear and informative communication strategies to educate consumers about the benefit of contactless. In conclusion, the future of contactless payment is filled with promises, and by proactively addressing the challenges and implementing thoughtful strategies, we will not only adopt this technology successfully, but also set new standards in customer experience and operational excellence. Together, we have the opportunity to shape the future of payment industry and lead our industry into new heights. CeBIH appreciates your presence to be part of this discourse. When I was reading what Secretariat wrote for me, Secretariat wrote this one for me. I thought about it and said, why is contactless a trend in the UK? Because some of the conversation we'll be having will be around acquiring devices precisely. So at some point we'll talk about QR, but today we are discussing contactless. So why do I think contactless is that important in the UK that everyone is using it? I saw convenience as one of the reasons, because it's easy for you to just bring out either your card or your phone and tap and move. Again, the transportation system between the train and the buses, the connectivity among them, for you to simply tap and walk away without even looking at the place, is also a very important place. And the cinema as well, because UK people, and including the stores, UK people like to shop. Maybe we have only 2 big malls in Lagos. Every other place is marketplace. So those Balogun market may not be as quick as possible to adopt contactless. But how about places where you eat? We have a lot of restaurants around. Merchant acceptance. And again, like I said, the people doing Nigeria on contactless, they are in this room. Today we will crack this issue. Adoption of mobile payment. So the entrance of Google Pay, Apple Pay, and Samsung Pay also helped in ensuring contactless is acceptable in the UK. I'm not sure if Apple Pay currently works in Nigeria, but I know that there are a lot of conversations ongoing with different stakeholders to ensure that Apple Pay and Google Pay work in Nigeria. Security. Because the English people believe that their card has been tokenized on their mobile, secured with their biometrics, either iris or fingerprints. So that allows them to do a lot of transactions. So today, the limit in Nigeria is 15,000. But if it is on my phone, I can increase the limit myself because it is tokenized with my identity. And even if you must steal my phone, because the issue is, everybody claims, oh, once your card is stolen, someone can easily go and tap it. And that's why we kept that limit as 15,000. We kept the limit as 15,000 when dollar was 200 naira. Today that dollar is something. I don't know what you can buy with 15,000 naira. Maybe a meal for yourself alone. Marketing campaign. In the UK, we have seen big schemes like MasterCard and thank you for being in the house. Visa, thank you for being in the house. We have seen big schemes putting big money behind the introduction and behind the advert. But we see in Nigeria, our big partners, not our big partners, our staff. NIPS is owned by all banks, and Unified Payment is owned by all banks too. So anybody working in NIPS and Unified Payment, greet them, my staff, because they are your staff. They're working for you. Yeah. So we trust that they will put in big energy because already MasterCard is here, Visa is here. What they did in England, they will do in Nigeria. In terms of promoting this thing, marketing, working with all of us to promote this. But on behalf of you, I will commit to 50 million from CeBIH to push the adoption of contactless. Clap now. If I don't put that kind of big money there, your partners will be giving 1,000, 1 million, 1 different. But now that you know that it's 50 million that is coming from CeBIH on behalf of the industry, they should try getting themselves ready. Let's do things that will promote this contactless. Regulatory support. I can't say that we don't have regulatory support in Nigeria. We do have regulatory support in Nigeria. So therefore, that regulatory approval that works for the UK, we already have it already. And that will be the end of my conversation today. But before I come on to the next speaker, I would like to introduce them. So we'll be talking contactless in Nigeria. And I noticed one man on their own. They started pushing contactless. They've been very, very informed when we talk about digitalization. And they push contactless. And I said, our guest today must be the MD of that man. And he accepted. I also understand that he said he doesn't like going to events. So he accepted this one. I was playing with my mind. And I got a call 2 days ago when I was in the CIBN conference in Abuja, so CIBN conference in Abuja. MD had to get out. This is Brazil. And I said, but I heard that it doesn't work. He said, no, this one, he really wanted to come. So I said to him, because we are discussing contactless, and they don't send us the MD or ED, send us the head of directorate of risk. Let's come and discuss that risk. And I have with me a very good gentleman, Mr. Olugbele Enyiwusi, who is the Chief Risk Officer of Providence Bank. He has a master's in business administration master's from Obato Awolowo University and a master's degree in managerial psychology from the University of Ibadan. He's a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Loans and Management, as well as a member of the Association of Enterprise Risk Management Professionals. He is also a member of the Global Risk Association. Please join me to welcome Mr. Olugbele Enyiwusi.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you everyone for having me this morning. And I actually want to say that I'm standing in for my MD, Mr. Walter Akbani. Just like the chairman said, it's actually not walking away from coming, it's unavoidably absent. They have to travel actually. So thank you for considering us. But I think that accolade, before I start my paper, I will throw it back to this team. Because if you think about the progress that we made in the financial sector today, if this team is not there, we'll probably be 50 years backward. Do you agree with me? Let's put our hands together. So, because in reality, there's no way we will make this level of progress if you have not put all the brains together to facilitate the way we do business today. If you permit me, my bank's balance sheet today is about 2.something trillion, and we have less than 20 branches. How are we able to make it? It's because of the support and the way you sit down together, you crack things and you make things possible for us. Once again, thank you to everyone here. Okay, so the matter of contactless. If you look at it, the way when I was called to come and standing for my CEO, within it I was like, if we've been able to achieve this level of milestone based on what you guys have done before, all that you are telling us is that the next phase for us is contactless, so that we can grow our balance sheet, we can make more money, and we can also influence, various communities. We're talking about financial inclusion and all of that. How do we achieve it? And a few minutes that I have to just talk about this, I'll just touch on a few things. But just like I said, a lot of time when we are talking about digitalization, my team and the business team, we do a lot of cracking together. Because again, we have to make sure that the issue of security is taken care of. I was looking at data recently and I saw that last year alone, POS transaction was about 11 trillion. Think about it. That's just one of the channels. And by the time you aggregate everything together, there was no way without some of these medium and channels that we can achieve that volume of activities in our financial sector. So it's already a global phenomenon. So if you continue to think backward, I will say there are challenges for us to move forward. Just like I was talking about the UK and some other clients, we just be backward. And that's why it's important and instructive for all of us together, whether in the risk area or wherever we belong, to see the possibility of driving business through contactless. But again, it will not come without any challenge, and that's why the topic says navigating the future. We have to navigate it. We have to navigate the future. And how do we do it? The consumers already know the convenience of how digitalization works. I have a client in Adamawa State. It's a dairy farm. I know the dairy farm, 1 million thing that will be very important for me as a risk person. I will look at the input. It needs to extract milk all over the place across various nomadics. Every morning they need to press the milk from the cow. How would that translate to paying them? We have to card more than 25,000 nomadics. I'm not in Adamawa, for example. It was made possible because people here, they actually put their brains together, to make it possible. So today, people see the yogurt everywhere, distributed across various channels, various supermarkets, because somebody somewhere made it possible. Because there's no input, there's no way the factory can perform and I can get the money back. So the convenience already makes it compelling for us to keep thinking forward on how to get things done better, more conveniently, and the consumers can also enjoy the beauty of it. So, but again, some of the things that I need to talk about, talking about the security, the infrastructure, these are very critical things. I know what is said around the regulatory side, because as the CBN and every other organ looking through how do we make these things seamless. I was at CRO Forum at the time, CBN, we sat down together, we were looking at this contactless. And we're like, what is the maximum radius that we can accommodate? Somebody just carries a device. Before you know it, your staff has gone on. How do we know that, a lot of thinking, we're going into that. And I think 50,000 is a good place to start from. You can increase, as we progress. You talk about advocacy, education, doing a lot of bringing people, creating awareness so that we can get a lot better. But one major thing is the infrastructure. The infrastructure. Because there's a very important factor that your device must be NFC enabled. And if you look at the populace that we have today, people that have tasted digitalization, how many have been able to afford this? So that's one major area we need to look at. So even when you sit in the laboratory and you do a lot of cracking of brains to say this thing can work, we must look at various other stakeholders. The OEMs must come together and say, how do we make this thing affordable for people to be able to take? And when I'm talking about Adamawa, I'm talking about some remote areas, across all our states. People can afford the medium, the device that will make it work. Today, you see all the wearables. How many people have that? Because if you are saying people must adopt it, they must be able to have what it takes to really adopt it. So when you look at some of these factors, and I'm glad that we have a lot of people here. Mastercard is here. I believe some OEMs are here. When I was listening to people at this level, I know a lot of work from this side also. We collaborate and support this process. So infrastructure is very important. Can you move to the next slide? Infrastructure is very key. Of course, security. And also when I sat down together, he was telling me, you are the head of risk. How are you able to weather the storm? The point is that there's a lot of collaboration between my team and the business team. And of course, as a bank, our onboarding process is such that we make it so rigorous. Of course, the KYC process as well. Our data protection policy, we don't joke with it. As an FI, we know the importance of data. And if data is compromised, you just expose your client. And the moment you lose control in one area, you create a lot of reputational issues that you are unable to manage. And of course, that can even cause a run on the bank. So we take that very seriously. Of course, we also have transaction monitoring tools that help us to be able to see through the process. And we can flag quickly if there are areas that we need to pay attention to. And if we need to reset and come back and change some of those parameters, we can do that quickly based on information that's available to us. Of course, where I sit, one of the major things for me is to set limits, to make sure that there is a tolerance level that we can accommodate. In risk person, we always talk about a loss norm. So what is the loss norm that I can assume over this product, over this channel? And by the time you keep testing it and you are seeing the level of adoption and the strength of the control that you have, you can begin to create some flexibility around the limit structure. And just like you said, so if we are starting 15,000, the reality is that as we're expanding and we're building infrastructure and the security environment is getting more strengthened, we definitely increase, CBIH will surely increase the limits. But the role of infrastructure is very important. I also want to emphasize the network reliability, connectivity. These are very important things. Do you know, if you have a doctor, he has prepared everything, he has done, has come up with, but at the end of the day, the people that were adopted at the other side, they don't have what it takes to carry those things out. Those are some of the areas we also need to look at. It's important. The ISP, internet service providers today, the telcos, how do we collaborate? So that those channels that will drive all of this communication can actually synchronize and work together. If I'm sitting where I sit, I want to be able to see some feedback. It can only happen when either it's successful, it's failed. So many algorithms that you people have put together, I want to be able to see it in a language I can understand. And by the time we are sitting down to say, change this to this, we can work together. So that is also a very important area to look at. Of course, tokenization is talked about it. Biometric authentication. All of these are things that we're very familiar with. Two-factor authentication. A lot of time we give options to customers. Do you want this, do you want that? But we need to educate them for them to be able to know the efficacy of all these controls. Sometimes people perceive control as a limitation, but it's protective. It secures them. It enables them to be able to see that the decision that they're taking in financial transaction will not expose them to financial losses. And unfortunately, in an environment that we are faced with so many things. At the end of the day, some of those losses come back to you as a financial institution. And that's why we need to get it right. So once again, I think it's a good thing that this committee is thinking this way because the market is already there and there's no two way to that. So, and we cannot afford to retrogress rather than to progress. But just in my area also, the group of CROs, we also put a lot of heads together. The last time we brought in Visa to come and talk to us on contactless. You know, it was a very, very insightful session that we went through it, because we need a lot of education so that when you are speaking those terminologies, we can actually align with you. So before I round off, I will talk a little on some of the progress that we have made in my bank. So, okay, I mean, this is talking about CBN now, fraud prevention and risk management, line potential loss. I'm just talking about things that we do. I just try to summarize it. I have only 10 minutes. Can you move forward, please? Okay, so strategies for driving, sorry, go back. The strategies for driving contactless adoption. Thank you. So we said there was incentive and promotion, you know, incentive and promotion, reward, cash program to encourage consumers. But the point is, even merchants today, they know the beauty of all of these things. When we started POS operations, we are waiting T+1. People can do instant settlement today. They can see their balances immediately. They enjoy it. So, if the beauty of contactless is made available to them, they can understand what are the benefits. It might even be at lower cost to financial institutions in terms of driving incentive. So I'm saying that the market is already waiting for this explosion. We just need to be able to create that convenience for them, ensure them that there is security of their wealth. And at the end of the day, I mean, the merchant can see reconciliation, you know, they can see proof of transactions day by day, and they can be comfortable in everything that they do. Of course, education and awareness, merchant partnership. Move to the next slide. So for Providence Bank, for example, these are some of the innovations that we've done. A lot of time we are waiting for CBN to give us go ahead. Because just like you are thinking through processes all of the time, we also try to do that. So once CBN gives us go ahead, we get approval from CBN, we are prepared for it. We have the soft POS now, which moves your POS into a phone. Thank you. Yeah, it moves your POS onto your phone. And of course, market will be interested in that. You don't need to be carrying some devices and gadgets here and there anymore. So that is what the market is waiting for. Contactless POS. We have that, of course. But like I mentioned, all of these are NFC enabled. Near field communication, that's what you call it. So that interaction can be seamless. And we have seen it when we travel abroad. You know, for example, my car today, when I travel, it's contactless. And I operate and I enjoy it. By the time you land, you come here, you know, I can't even do a 50,000 transaction. You know what I'm talking about. Because when you are buying, like you were saying, the day of 200 naira to $1, today is 50,000, cannot even buy, you know, a single transaction you want to do. So it's high time for us to create that understanding and awareness in the industry so that the adoption rate can be seamless. Protection of consumers by way of security, and advocacy, like you mentioned, in terms of letting people know, partnership among ourselves, so that every organ, all the stakeholders, we can come together and be able to make a shift so that there will be that collaboration. I was moved when I heard that an FI was fined about 500 million on data privacy. I mean, it was in the news not too long ago. It's an area that we must take very seriously. And if we come back to my side, when we look at Barcelona, I talks about pillars 1, 2, 3. Under pillar 3, you must do disclosure of the way you run your risk environment. So it therefore means that the public must know the strength you have in terms of protecting their interest. That's why when they read through a HANA account, they can see the strength and weakness that you have. So therefore, if you are not there, it's difficult. The pressure will be there even for the consumers to adopt. But I think with collaboration, we can actually achieve a lot. Okay, so we have the contactless card, tokenization. Now, when we launched the tokenization, I believe a few of us here were in the room together with us. And we want the market adoption to begin to grow. So we've been able to tokenize our cards, such that you can imagine the level of protection also for the client. Because before somebody can use your phone where you tokenize your card, you have your password that goes in there. You have what you know what you have, those are things that you taught us. At the end of the day, you are very protected. But people must know that. As we all seated here this morning, there are a lot of people that are still far away from digitalization. Cybersecurity issues stares at our faces every day. Each time I sit with my CISO, we crack our brains together to be able to say, what again do we need? And there's a limit also that you can deploy tools. I mean, it's also a budget constraints. But putting all of these things together, I believe people say when the problem is well defined, it is half solved. Because we already have the journey, people have tasted it, the market is going ahead of us, we don't have a choice than to make sure that we align. In conclusion, the future of contactless payment is very promising. It's very promising. I know because you also know. I just mentioned 2023 alone, POS alone drove 11 trillion. There was 1 year where my business team was presenting the budget for the year. And I saw trillions. I went to them and said, how are you sure I'm going to achieve this? Even my MD he just stood up. He said, are you sure of what you are saying? By the time we came to media study session, they've done more than 70% in collection. Billions of naira. So it's possible. And you can imagine the multiplier effect also on the economy, because people that are touched, look at POS all over the places, they are gainfully employed, they can make their money and live. People are making it possible. And I think we need to do more. With what the chairman has said now, talking about advocacy, awareness, fraud management, we need to work together. And I believe together we can achieve the objective. Thank you very much for listening.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Olubile. And we'll see the Chief Risk Officer, Providence Bank, for that insightful speech. Thank you. Round of applause, please. He touched on three key areas: convenience for the consumers, and everything we do, put the consumers in place first of all. Security, very, very essential. Putting the right limits, right, and protection and control. And finally, partnerships and collaboration to drive contactless payments in Nigeria. Thank you very much again, Mr. Eriwosi. Thank you. The next speaker. 1 minute. Yes, the next speaker is Wale Farrell. He's a serial entrepreneur and business development executive who is passionate about creating innovative products and solutions for MSMEs. He's a visionary leader who has led teams in Fortune 500 companies to innovate, market, and sell leading technology solutions, delivering value to millions of customers in the B2B and the B2C segments. Wale started his career in banking with Citigroup before joining ExxonMobil Nigeria, where he led technology projects for about 5 years. And then he started his entrepreneurship journey thereafter. Representing Wale is Sam Onwukwe, the GM Partnerships and Operation, netplus.com. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay. My boss, CEO Wale Farrell, is unavoidably absent, so I'm going to be delivering a keynote address on his behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's an honor to be here at the CeBIH Q3 2024 Industry Forum, discussing a topic that is not only timely but also pivotal to the future of our financial ecosystem, navigating the future of contactless payment, adoption challenges, and success strategies. Before I start, please let me offer a wholehearted congratulations to the Gbajúmọ̀ of Lagos, Mr. Ajibade Laolu Adewale, on his recent appointment as the chairman of CeBIH. We have no doubt about, okay, go ahead and clap. We have no doubt about the leadership of the organization and the positive direction we can expect of the next few years. We wish you all the success and look forward to working with you to advance the space we all love and cherish. As we stand on the brink of a new era in payment technology, the promise of contactless payment is undeniable. The convenience, speed, and security it offers is transforming the way we conduct transactions, making everyday purchases simpler and more efficient. The global market for contactless payment is projected to grow exponentially, reflecting a broader shift towards digital and seamless payment methods. However, the path to widespread adoption is fraught with several challenges. Infrastructure readiness remains a significant hurdle. Many regions, particularly in the developing markets like ours, still lack the necessary technological backbone to support contactless payments. This gap must be bridged to ensure inclusive growth and equal access to this innovative technology. Of course, cybersecurity is another critical concern as we move towards a more digital payment landscape. The risk of cyber threats increases. It's imperative that we develop robust security measures to protect consumers and businesses alike. This requires a collaborative effort from financial institutions, technology providers, and regulatory bodies to create a secure and resilient ecosystem. Consumer trust is also paramount. While the benefits of contactless payments are clear, gaining the trust of customers is essential for widespread adoption. This involves not only ensuring the security of transactions, but also educating consumers about the advantages and safety of contactless payments. Success in this space will require a multifaceted approach. We must invest in infrastructure, enhance cybersecurity, and build consumer trust. Additionally, we need to foster innovation and collaboration across the industry. By sharing insights, strategies, and best practices, we can overcome these challenges and unlock the full potential of contactless payments. Now, as a company, NetPlus has always thought about contactless payment technology post-COVID in two ways. How do we drive seamless transaction with the current infrastructure that we have? In other words, how do we make our current POS devices work with just a tap of an NFC-enabled card? In the past few years, the card schemes have led a project to ensure that all issued cards have contactless capabilities, thus making it imperative for payment terminal providers like us to ensure readiness on the acquiring side. As a company, we have made significant progress with this to ensure that all devices we support and deploy are ready from day one. And it also looks like there is a concerted effort by all stakeholders within the market to ensure the same over the next few years. Then secondly, how do we reduce the cost of acquiring by transition from hardware devices to solutions driven by safe and secure software? I'm talking about software. I think the chief compliance officer at Providus mentioned that also a few minutes ago. NetPlus has undoubtedly been at the forefront of this. So today we have a software solution that we've deployed in the market. We started this initiative the need of the COVID era, where we discovered that people were trying to do transactions but were trying to distance themselves from surfaces that they were not so familiar with. And so we decided to develop this solution. Of course, it's something that's prevalent outside Nigeria. When you go outside today, with just a tap of your card, you can do a transaction. And so we decided to develop this solution. And in so doing, we've also gained some grounds in the market in terms of our solution offering. And so NetPlus, we have been in the forefront of this. Our software solution, which enables mobile devices into full POS systems, have been leveraged by many partners in the market, including banks and fintechs today. And it's becoming the next success story in this exciting market of ours. In June, we hosted an industry event, such as the one that we are holding today, where we discussed issues and barriers impeding the adoption of software and contactless technology. A number of issues were raised or were discussed as well, but we honed in on the need to make NFC devices more available in the market. So we've in the last couple of months, we've been having engagements with OEMs, device manufacturers, in order for them to be able to provide affordable devices that will help drive this initiative in the market. So we have also, as a matter of fact, set up a working group comprising of representatives from Access Bank, WEMA, FCMB, Globus, and First Bank. And this was formed in order to tackle the issues and find workable solutions around the issues impeding the adoption of this solution. We want to expand this to other banks and fintechs, and I encourage you to join us today in that effort to drive the adoption of this cost-saving technology in Nigeria and perhaps beyond. In conclusion, the future of contactless payment is bright, but it's up to us to navigate the challenges and seize the opportunities. Together, we can create a payment ecosystem that is not only efficient and secure, but also inclusive, cost-saving, and accessible to all. Thank you so much for listening.
Get ready to experience the future with the NetHUS contactless solution, where cutting-edge technology meets seamless, secure, and flexible payments. With this solution, you can access a world of payment possibilities using just an internet-enabled phone or device. Let's explore the available payment channels. To receive payment using Tap on Phone, input the amount. Your customer simply needs to tap their card on your NFC device, input their PIN, and the payment is successful. To receive payment using Merchant Display QR, click on Display QR and input the amount to be paid by the customer. Your customer simply needs to scan your generated QR code, and this takes them to the checkout page. Let's explore the Pay with Card feature. Your customer will have to enter their card details, including the PIN, the CVV, and expiry date, after which they'll click the Pay button. They will receive an OTP on their registered email or phone number. Enter the OTP, and voila, payment is successful. Does your customer prefer to pay with a bank transfer? We've got that covered too. Select Pay with Transfer on the payment page. A merchant account number will appear for them to transfer the amount to. Once the transfer is complete, return to the payment page, then click I have made the transfer or a similar confirmation button. Within moments, you'll see a payment confirmation message. Lastly, the Pay by Bank option. Your customer simply needs to follow these steps. Select Pay with Bank on the payment page. Choose their preferred bank from the drop-down list. Enter the account number associated with the bank account. Receive an OTP on their registered phone number or email. Then enter the OTP and voila, payment successful. All these payment methods are...
Remind me when I was saying fire initially. It seems the hotel heard me and made it a little bit hot. I guess you guys feel much better now, right? How's the temperature right now? Okay, better? Good. So there are drinks out there and a little bit of snacks. You can grab that and come in. We started a little bit late today, so please feel free to go out and get something to eat and bring that to the table. Feel free to do that. Just thanks again for that presentation. Sam Onwukwe from netplus.com, the GM Partnerships and Operations. It's quite interesting how we're actually advancing payments in Nigeria. I'm quite proud of this country, Nigeria, and what we're actually doing in Africa and beyond, basically. We're thinking innovative products to serve all aspects of the economy, basically. Imagine contactless payment, yes, that perhaps has been on for years in other parts of Europe and the likes, but imagine, while he was presenting, something came to my mind actually. Imagine, okay, we all know, yes, Siri, on our phones, Alexa at home and all that. You could actually tell Siri, play me Obongo, and music plays, right? Good. You walk into your home and tell Alexa, turn on the lights. The lights come on, right? You tell Alexa, open the curtains. Curtain opens, right? In the words that Sam said, voila. So I'm then wondering then, why can't we walk to a POS terminal and do voice pay? Just say, hi POS, it says hi. Say, what's your username? You say CB 2023 or 2024 Q3. You say, okay, bank name Global Bank. Pay 10,000 naira to Ebano. You say, okay, voice activated. 10,000 naira paid. Click a receipt and leave. So why can't you do voice pay in Nigeria? Sorry? Sorry, when you say something, share. What's pocket? Oh, your voices sound alike. Interesting. Just like face recognition, right? Oh, you look different. Okay. Interesting. All right. Next on the list is a keynote speaker. She is a leader in digital payments and technology and has been instrumental in driving visa growth and innovation in the sub-Saharan Africa. She oversees product and tech delivery in all 46 countries, leading teams in Nigeria, Ghana, the DRC, Kenya, Ethiopia, and South Africa. She led the successful launch of push payments and groundbreaking service that enables instant and secure funds transfer across borders. She has strong business relationships with fintechs and has been instrumental in key investment and strategic partnerships across the continent to enhance Visa's offering and reach. Ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome the Senior Director, Solution Management, Visa Sub-Saharan Africa, Quebec, Marseille. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I hate to stand between people and tea break, so I was wondering if people were going on tea break. Thank you very much for having me. It's nice to see good and old faces here. Thank you, Chairman. Congratulations, and thank you, CeBIH. All right, so I'm going to go straight. It's a keynote address, but please, you forgive the teacher in me because we don't want to have death by speeches today, right? And we're going to be singing to the choir. We all want contactless. So my job here today will just be to bust some myth. How many of us watched Mythbusters at some point in our lives? Yes. So my job here is to bust some myths on what we think are the things that have been holding us back from achieving contactless adoption in the market. All right. So can you go to the next slide? Next slide. Okay, so just like Visa, our purpose, we all have a joint purpose in this room, which is to uplift everyone everywhere and be the best way to pay and to be paid. If I ask anybody, what is your objective for your bank, it's the same thing, and that's the job of Visa. And so that is part of what contactless is going to help us achieve. So next slide. But there are building blocks and foundations before we get there. Before we tell people to adopt contactless, first of all, there must be trust. I was asking someone from the bank the other day, I said, why haven't you guys adopted contactless? And one of the things he said, which was really interesting, was the fuel stations are saying, without contactless, when people dip to their cards and put in PIN, we had frauds. What happens when people now tap to pay? That means you want to take us out of business. And it was really interesting. And so it got me back thinking to say, perhaps we need to do a lot more in letting people know what is and what is not when we move contactless payments around, and which is building the future of money movement. So next slide, just pause there. I was a teacher in my former life before getting into tech, and so this is just a little trivia. Who can tell me what the right contactless symbol is? I don't have a prize, but we'll clap for you. No, not Visa. Who can tell me? What? B. B? Is it? What is it? C? Alright, so I'll tell you what it is. So next, just click. It's B. So how about this? What does this say? Uncle. Why? It's already, it has gone. So this was just a trip because I thought we're coming after lunch break, and so just to help. But now let's go into the main slides. What is our purpose in this room? we don't compete with each other. I don't want to believe that we're competing with each other. Our competition and the person we should be competing is cash, right? So we should all be competing with cash. And so the purpose of contactless is to, one, outcompete cash. I like what the speaker from Providas, chairman, and the speaker from NetPlus said. What contactless does is it helps us open new merchant segments. Imagine where instead of relying on a $200 plus device, everyone can now take their phones and accept payments. That is what contactless does. It's part of what you can't achieve with a dip or a swipe. Now, it paves way for other digital payments and advances. So there are now wearables. You can use your phone, you can use your wristwatch, you can use your rings. We had the rings during the Russia World Cup to pay. So next slide, please. So today, like I said, my job here is very simple and it's going to be short. It's to bust some contactless myths. And what I did was to sit back and think through the different questions I hear asked, and I try to provide answers to them. So the first thing is, the first question, could I be debited twice if I have more than one contactless card? So I hear people say, well, if I take my card and maybe I have it in my wallet and I mistakenly tap it, can I be debited twice? No, you can't. So the way contactless works is you're debited just once. The POS puts in the amount, and if you try a second attempt in the space of, say, a few seconds, it doesn't let that transaction go through. So the reader would only do it once. So why I'm going through this and why this is important is if we do not know this, we will not be able to educate the industry, and we will still give excuses as to why we haven't gone live on contactless. The second one, can a fraudster use a reader to steal my card details? Yes and no. Why I say yes and no is, yes, you can have a card reader that can take card details, but there's a limit to the information that can be taken. We all are in e-business. We know there's a track-to data. We know there's a difference between taking the card number, and most of the time that card number, depending on the card reader, comes out encrypted. So even if they take the card number, they can't take your CVV. So there are a lot of details that can't be taken. So that is also gone. Now myth 1, myth 2 busted, okay? Let's go to the next one, duplicating contactless cards. So another thing we've seen is, another misconception is, people say, okay, when I use my card and I tap it and that information is there, can somebody take it and do something else? No. Every contactless transaction comes with a dynamic code, and that is why they're encrypted. So when those transactions, I would have to literally replicate everything, and with a 15,000 naira limit, I really must be desperate to need that 15,000 to go through the lens of, trying to duplicate that transaction. Next one. Connected devices and contactless payments. Now, what we have seen is when we look at contactless, for us, the card is just the baseline. The card is just a means to an end. Card, you use your card online, you use your card to tap. But where we want to get to is where I don't have to rely on my card. I just take my phone and I tap everywhere I go. I don't even have to take my phone. I take my wristwatch and I tap. I don't even have to have my wristwatch. I take my ring and I tap. That is where we want to get to. And why do I believe so much in connected devices? Because they are actually more secure. Chairman was talking about you have a limit of 15K on your card. When I'm using my phone, my limit can be higher because before that transaction comes through, I have to have enabled it on my phone and put in the required security measures. And it's my phone. The way people would jump out of the bathroom or go back home if they mistakenly leave their phones at home and somebody is going to take it, that's the same way we should start creating awareness on cards. People should realize by the time we're doing tap to pay and contactless comes through, we need to create that awareness, let people know, treat your card the way you would treat your phone. The same way you will not leave your phone at home, the same way you will not just give your phone to anyone, treat your card that same way. And when we do that, it starts to create that consciousness and that security in the minds of people. So next one, contactless payment security. A lot of us are veterans on e-business in this room. I remember a couple of years ago when we had SDA for our chips, which was a static, then authentication, then we moved to DDA. When we sunset SDA, there was a lot of outcry, why? Then we moved to DDA, then we moved to CDA. Now the good thing about these chip methods is it provides an extra layer of security. Every transaction that comes through your contactless is on a DDA or a CDA chip. Why is this important? Is every transaction on a DDA or CDA chip comes fully encrypted. And what that means is when you do that transaction, even if somebody gets those details or there's a card reader there, everything is going to come gibberish. When you move that into your connected devices, even if that transaction gets transmitted, it is called a cryptogram. So that transaction is tokenized. It means that I'm only going to see a set of long string numbers and I'm not going to see your card number, your expiry date, and whatever detail. Now, I'm going through this lens to explain to, as Mr. Chairman said, we're all in this room, and it is left for us to decide whether contactless will work or not. And so it's important we are educated so we know how to drive this. Next one. The one previously. No, before that. Yeah. Okay, so I've talked about this. So what merchants category focus should we look at? I'm going to talk a bit about what happened in Ghana last year before I come to this. So we rolled out contactless in Ghana last year, and we had a very, very crazy experience. So we had situations where some banks said every transaction from 1 CD up, PIN. We had some that said transactions 50 CD and below, no PIN. The other one said, oh, we are fine, transactions 200 and below, no PIN. So there was a mess in the market. And what we did was we sat down with the Ghana Association of Bankers and we worked with them to agree a limit. But we don't have that problem in Nigeria because the central bank has already given a limit. Now, I know some banks are risk averse. Some banks will say, my cardholder is not as risk as maybe digital savvy as this. And the CBN brought in the opt-in, opt-out. But if we critically look at that, that's a clunky experience. Because it means you have to create either your call center or you have to put in something on your mobile banking app. God help you, the mobile technology guys say is Sprint 7, that will come in, you know. And then you do that today, it works, tomorrow it doesn't work because somebody has done a code change. So what do we do? It is all about allow our customers are not as stupid as we think. They use WhatsApp. They use paper, let me put it that way. They sell on Instagram. They use those things so they know what to do. With the right education, with the right knowledge, they can do it. And I saw a video going around saying, oh, if you put your, if somebody comes, they can take and they tap your card, they can make a payment. Now the first thing is, if I'm a woman and I have a bag, nobody can bring a POS and tap it. Why? Because you'll first need to know exactly where that card is in my bag. Then God bless you, you know all of us in this room, I'm sure we have 5, 6, 7 cards. So the reader will first be confused to understand which of the cards am I supposed to tap. Then thirdly, you would have to, so for contactless transactions, you have to put it there for about a second or 2 or about 3 seconds. So if somebody is standing beside you, very uncomfortably close, 4 centimeters with a POS, and you don't know, and you have one card, then maybe you were meant to be scammed, right? So why is this important? We need to give that education to our customers in form of jingles, in ways they will understand, digital, social media. South Africa, what helped South Africa was COVID. So with COVID, nobody wanted to touch anything. And so they used that as an entrance to contactless. Now we don't have COVID, so we have no excuse, but we need to get this up and running. Someone talked about Apple Pay. Apple is scared. They want to come into the market. We've had meetings, we've introduced them to a lot of the banks, but they're like, we have not seen that adoption fully. And we do not want to be the guinea pigs. And so they move 2 steps forward, they move 5 steps back. We need to help our industry. If we want to move digitally, it's in our hands and it's our responsibility. So in closing, I just put in a few merchant segments we can look at, and we talked about that. So your transit, we have the rails coming up. Why can't we use our cards to pay them? You have your quick service restaurants, you have groceries. Now imagine if we just start by creating at Ebano, at Grand Square, at just a quick service queue. So I want to buy bread, I want to buy just 1 or 2 things, just a quick service queue as a test run. Just create it and see what the adoption is. Then let's even start a test and learn and see how that goes. Pharmacies, for first stations, we would have to do a lot of education here. And it takes all of us. It takes the acquiring team, it takes the issuing, it takes the PTSPs, it takes everybody. It takes a village to raise this child called contactless. And so you have our support, Mr. Chairman. The same support we have given in other markets. We are willing, we're ready, and we're happy to support the adoption of contactless. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, give you once again for Nkebet Mesele, the Senior Director of Solutions Management, Visa Sub-Saharan Africa. Nkebet, when you were saying we have our support, Mr. Chairman, I was like, I stopped right and I was looking at you. You know, when Chairman said from CB we're giving 50 million naira, right? I would bet to hear $500 million. It's coming, thank you, no problem. Wait, thank you very much. Thanks so much, Visa, for supporting the payment ecosystem, and also lovely innovation also. And again, she's let us know about some myths we all thought about. So I'll probably call it the myth buster. Creating awareness also about how secured contactless payment is. Let's go out there and adopt. I'm sure most of us right here already know about contactless payment anyway. But just more promoting it and ensuring we go out there and preach the gospel of contactless payment. It's secure, basically. So let's. And also thank you for your bringing up your wealth of experience also from other parts of Africa. Like you mentioned in Ghana, they have various limits, right? PIN and all of that. But thankfully, our regulators have been able to help us and actually guide us in the limits in terms of how we operate contactless in Nigeria. So the ball is really on our court, basically, to do that. Those online, thanks for joining also. Just stay online, and I'm sure you're enjoying this forum. Right now, we're going for tea break. I announced that before, but it seems we're all good, and no one wants to go for tea break. So I'm going to make a compulsory tea break right now. Go for a 5 minutes break for tea break. I initially said we should just go and come because of time, but we're going to do a 5 minutes break right now for tea break. Afterwards, we'll take some good messages from some of our sponsors, then we'll kick off to the panel session. Okay? So 5 minutes or even 3 minutes, and we'll be right back. A compulsory tea break. Thank you. We all be seated. We have distinguished guests and participants online, also about 4,000 of them on YouTube and Zoom. May we all be seated. Our data is going, and we really appreciate those who are online joining us across the world. May we commence, please. All right. So thank you for your time, and thanks for still being here till now. I know we all busy at the various places of work, but you took out time to make contact with us right here in this event. So next on the agenda, just to mention again, for any reason someone just coming in right now, you can scan the QR code and see the agenda, just in case you don't have that. So next on the agenda is goodwill messages from our sponsors. First on the list is Global Accelerates. So we have the Managing Director, Chuks Anakudo, ably represented by Idris Balogu, the Head Product Manager. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Idris Balogun, Global CeBIH's. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I want to use this medium to appreciate the organizers of this forum. It's been an insightful session. Also to thank our special partners, the financial institutions, the banks, acquirers, issuers, for the partnership over the years. We've been in the industry for over a decade, and one of our key strategies is to partner with our financial institutions to build innovative solutions across different channels. One of the ways we've been able to achieve this is to bring out, co-create with financial institutions, come up with new payment ideas, how we can solve real-life problems for our customers. And in line with the theme of this forum, contactless solutions, something we're very passionate about. Global CeBIH's, as one of the leading PTSPs in the country, our POS devices and applications have been fully certified by NIPS. We've also rolled out contactless POS solutions to multiple banks within the industry. And like the chairman has said, there are a lot of issues when it comes to contactless payments. So the problem is not how it will work. We have those solutions working today, but the adoption has been really poor, and there needs to be, some sort of strategy needs to be put in place to, drive this adoption. Some of these issues can be attributed to cost. Some can be attributed to, technology and infrastructure. Because you agree with me that in the industry today, you have sort of Linux terminals that are not NFC enabled, still, at merchant outlets. And some banks will tell you, I've invested so much in deploying those solutions. You can't tell me to just withdraw those devices. And you also have some Android devices in the field out there too that are not, NFC enabled. So banks will ask questions. Are you telling me to, because I want to drive contactless, are you telling me to just dump all those devices and start replacing them with new devices that support NFC? So these are some of the, growing challenges that people, questions that are being asked. And again, I would say one of the major ways we can address that would be, maybe segmentation, or probably, identifying your audience or markets that really requires this contactless solution. Not all solutions, or not all devices, or not all merchants will require a particular payment method. You need to look at, the various market segments, like Kevin had said. She listed notable areas, those areas where you have high traffic, because what you're trying to solve for is convenience, speed, and security. Now, we all have agreed in this room. So what that means is there's a need to, have a proper market segmentation, identify your audience, identify the merchant that really requires this solution. Because again, you can't have all those devices retrieved and then start deploying NFC, enabled devices in the market. And in order to drive this adoption, there are three things which we can't overemphasize in this room. We mentioned the need for awareness, because a typical layman out there will just believe my card is just for you can only use your card on maybe POS or ATM and not on any other channels. So there's a need for them to understand that look, this is not just a card where you have to just insert at every point in time. You can always tap and go. You can do all sorts with your card. And if you go out there today, people also believe that the only way of having a tap and go card would probably be through transportation, maybe through your regular carry-wise and other other locations. But the moment the banks now start incentivizing customers, or they need to understand various ways of using their cards to go a long way. You mentioned something around advocacy and partnership. Partnership is very key to what we're trying to do. But there's the part I really want to touch on as global CeBIH's. Within the last few months, we had a session we created the public gathering and sort of cooperation sessions with banks. And lately, we engaged a bank and we listened to their pain points. One of the things that they mentioned is actually related to the last part that Kevin talked on. They mentioned that when you visit a merchant outlet and you're without your card, you don't have cash on you, maybe you're without your wallet, you don't have your wearables. So what other means of payments do you have? You understand? So that's what actually led us to a new innovation for payments which we introduced, and that's payment with fingerprints. We launched that 2 months ago with the bank. We're currently piloting with the second bank, and we are at advanced stage with like 3 other banks, project stage. So what are we trying to achieve with the payment with fingerprints? like we had said, the card is just a payment instrument. You can as well create as many payment instruments or as many alternative payment methods as possible on the PS device. So we came up with the pay with fingerprints where when you get to a merchant outlet, you don't have your card with you, you don't have your mobile phone with you, you probably have it but out of network. You probably don't have cash as well, but again, you should still be able to consummate transactions, and that's one of the reasons why we came up with this solution. And it's pretty straightforward. It's still tailored towards the problem we're trying to solve, which is convenience and speed, and also security. And the way it works is such that to visit a merchant outlet, you select the payment method. You still have all the various payment methods supported anyway, the card, the transfer, the USSD. Then you also have the pay with fingerprint as one of the options available. So what you need to do is select the payment with fingerprint, you enter the amount, and then you just place your thumb on the fingerprint reader. So once you do that, that's some sort of authentication and validation that will be done at the bank, and then transaction is consummated. So why did we decide to come up with this? So one of the things that we've always been highlighting during this session. The first thing is cost. If my card is expired, I should be able to still transact. Why I wait for a card renewal, or probably why I wait for other payment options. What if it's at a location where I don't even have cards as a means of payment? I should still be able to transact. So we still have this issues around cost associated with customers requesting for cards, card renewal costs, and some other things. So this actually eliminates that particular issue. Then we also have the convenience and simplicity, because again, it's convenient. You don't need a special manual to train somebody on how to place his fingerprint on the fingerprint reader. You understand? So again, the security is so enhanced because unlike a regular card where you start worrying about identity theft, where somebody can just steal your card or probably get a clone of your card or your card information like the PAN, the CB2, or the expiry dates. You don't need to worry about all of those things. Then the speed as well. So for the speed, what we've done with all the banks that we partner with is to integrate to their system such that we can take customers' information, transaction information from the device, and then send it to them. And again, it's API-based, not ISO-based. It's not a situation where you send a transaction to the switch sends it to an issuer processor identify the bank, and then the whole entire transaction lifecycle that can probably lead to transaction timeout or network timeout and all of that. All those things are kind of eliminated. So what we've done in this case is more like a closed loop where your card holders or your account holders can visit their merchant outlet, and then they can carry out transactions with a fingerprint, and within less than 60 seconds, transactions can be consummated. And another thing that is solving for is improved approval rates, because for every regular pay with fingerprint transactions, the moment your fingerprint is validated and you have funds in your account, you can be guaranteed of 99% approval rate, because you don't have all these cardholder induced or cardholder related declines like expired card, invalid PIN, or refer to card issuers, and all those kind of responses. Even the entire turnaround time can be less than 60 seconds. And what are the next steps? Because again, we'll pilot this with a bank for 2 months. We have another bank that we're rolling out to in coming weeks. And then we have 2 banks at implementation stage. So what is next for us? Just similar to the contactless solution that we're discussing. Well, one thing that is critical is awareness and collaboration. People need to be aware that, look, you visit merchant outlets, there are various or multiple ways of making payments, alternative means of making payments. So people need to be aware, and we also understand that we can't do this without the collaboration or the partnership with the banks, which we've always been doing over the years. So for adoption, it's important that we carry up stakeholders along, engage banks, and then also ensure that we have this expansion. Because the more the acceptance channel, the more you're able to get more people to use the solution. Then there's a major pain point for what we've developed so far. It's more of a closed loop, it's on us. It's your account holder's transaction on your merchant terminal. So we're trying to look out for ways of ensuring that there's interoperability, there's a flexibility, such that customer of Bank A can visit Bank B to consummate transactions. And in doing that, we've scoped this Then it got to a point where NIPS reached out that there's a BTSS solution, which is a biometric system that already handles, flexibility and remote anonymous transactions. So what that means is customers of Bank A can now visit a Bank B merchant and then consummate transactions. It gets NIPS, and NIPS is able to send it to appropriate bank to authorize. So we've done the integration with NIPS. We are at pilot stage. What that means is in coming months we should have scenarios where Bank A customers should be able to visit Bank B merchant outlets to consummate transactions using a fingerprint. And that's all from us, basically. Thank you.
Thank you. So just take a brief message from our sponsors. All right, we're pressed for time, so let's keep to time in terms of our good messages. We appreciate that. Thank you very much again, Chris Balogu, the head product management at Global Athletics, focusing more on convenience, speed, and security. Thank you very much. Next on the list, the good messages, we have Jude Okohara. Pardon me if I pronounce your surname inappropriately. He's the head of marketing Bandbox. He'll be representing Ibitoye Michael, the CEO Bandbox. Thank you. Round of applause, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, the chairman of CeBIH, and every other person gathered here today. We're glad to have everyone today because we're talking about navigating the future of contactless payments in our financial system here in Nigeria. Okay, so what we do at Bandbox Africa. So I don't know if you want to share the screen. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, financial institutions play very critical and crucial roles in ensuring that businesses transact seamlessly and ensure that everything is going smoothly in all of their financial transactions that they do. So at Bandbox Africa, what we do majorly is to ensure that we make life pretty much easier for the business owners and the financial partners involved. So I'll just run through this. Because of time, I won't be able to say much that I have on the slide. So that's just the summary of the first part. So I'll move to issues most financial institutions encounter. Now, some of the issues are high cost of obtaining Android POS terminals. That's the really smart POS terminals. It's a very huge concern. It's very expensive. Then cost of infrastructure is another major concern. Increased maintenance and operational cost of these terminals. The terminals we see, the POS terminals we know out there, sometimes the screen might easily fall and the POS terminals might fall and get damaged, the screen might be bad. So most organizations, most financial institutions that give out these POS terminals, give them out with the intention of making, like breaking even. A POS terminal will cost maybe sometimes over $85, some $100 and something dollars. For you to be able to break even, you are expecting that, let me give it out at a caution fee of maybe 20,000 naira or 25,000 naira. But from the transactions, we'll be able to make the money we are supposed to make. But most of the time, before they get midway in it, the terminals will get bad, they get damaged. One or two things happen, maybe the batteries, the chargers. We've experienced a lot of these issues here and there. But what happens, most times they might not break even. They might only break even when the customer, the merchants, are like very large transacting merchants, like let's say the major supermarkets, like likes of the Abino, ShopRite, and what have you. So, but most of the people they give, the businesses that these financial institutions give out these terminals to, usually don't break even. But they wouldn't complain because you have competitors out there and you still have to be out there. So that is part of the major challenges they normally face. And then ability to scale the services is also a major concern. All of this is financial cost, like expenses accrued to most of these companies. So the next on the slide. Okay, so the Bandbox. Why did we bring the Bandbox? All right. Okay. All right, then I'll just back to the last slide, please. The last slide. Okay. Now, bank box is for every financial institution. The DMB, that's the deposit money banks, the commercial banks itself, the MLBs, microfinance banks, and every other financial institution. They ensure that it makes life easy for them, way better than the regular POS terminals that they do give out. I'd just like us to move to the next, and we give a white label solution to ensure that you're not having any other name, any other brand name showing on your API, right? So we'll just move to this. Okay, the BankBox device, it is portable in size. It is very small. It is pocket size. You can move around with it in your small purses, in your wallet, in your pockets, and you don't even feel it. And you can easily collect money from your customers. You know, I'll just put this in like, you know, there are many people that maybe you might just chat on WhatsApp, hey, how are you doing? And the next message you get is, hello, thank you for reaching out to Amadio Hair Collections and all of that. You know, a lot of people do it nowadays. Now, for you to be able to collect money from people, you only rely majorly on transfers. You can't be moving about to the regular terminals. You can, but it's going to be bulky and pretty much expensive. But with the bank box, it's easy to move around with. All right, and it can charge. It's lasting charge. Like it can stay for a very long time. Once it's fully charged, it can stay for a very long time, for up to 4 days. Once fully charged, then it has some notifications light to let you know when your transactions are going smoothly. So it's very easy to use, and the power button is also by the side. I would like to have one around so that I can showcase it to us. Power button is by the side, and we also have the card slot, just in case you want to insert your card. Then the next please. Okay, so for the affordable products, the value proposition we give at BankBox is that the BankBox is very, very affordable. Now it's about $21, right? Way cheaper than. Thank you very much. So this is the BankBox.
You carry it around.
It's pocket friendly. You can easily. So the way we move around with our mobile phones, that is how we can move around with our BankBoxes as well. Let's say you have a business and you have 5 sales agents. Whether you're the owner of the business, whether you're there or not, you can have enough BankBoxes for these 5 sales personnel, maybe your customer support or your agents. They can just have them in front of you. Let's assume you have Chicken Republic. You're the owner of Chicken Republic, and you have the one in Lekki, in Victoria Island, maybe Port Harcourt, other places as well. In Lekki Phase 1, Chicken Republic Lekki Phase 1, you can have, let's say, 5 BankBoxes around, and they can easily use it to collect payments via the slotting of the card, and they can also use the tap to pay. Very, very smooth. I'll show us the video later on while we're making the presentation. Then, next on the slide, it has 360 overview review for your merchants, the terminals and the transactions, everything. You can easily see them. Once, for every financial institution, every partner, you can easily see that for your merchants. We have multiple processors connections. We have a white labeled, fully customized devices. So this device can be customized to your brand. Let's say, for instance, your XYZ bank, right, or XYZ MFB. You can easily customize these BankBoxes to the name of your brand. Okay, wow. Time is very short. Well, yeah, thank you. So let's move to the next. So I just want to show us something. I listened to the other lady from Visa. She made mention of certain things that were really catchy. And I love the fact that she mentioned that we are not in a competition with anybody. We want to ensure that we move this contactless payment solution in Nigeria, and we're able to infiltrate into every market and in every sector. It's pretty much easier. The only thing, yes, we have the concerns about security and all of that, but that has been taken care of. And thank you very much to the lady that spoke about contactless payments from Visa. And I think I don't have to go about all of that now. Now, I want to just go, please help me go back a bit. I want to just show us some of the things we have here. So for the BankBox, we have all of the services of the soft POS, the soft POS in the BankBox. The soft POS is very good. I can believe that many businesses and organizations are enjoying it. So we have all of that in the BankBox, and we have more. So what do we have in the BankBox that is interesting? It's a very portable device, like I made mention of. It's NFC enabled. The card insert is available. Smartphone compatible. It works with every smartphone, whether the owner of the business is there or not. It works very easily. And then it's affordable to obtain and maintain, like I said. The regular terminals is just on caution fee. If you're not transacting well, you have to take it back, and businesses are losing out on that. About here is just $21. You can lease it out for 15,000 naira to your merchant if you want. And then it's API backed, fully backed, and it has a 4 days battery life once fully charged. Once you charge it fully twice, it can last you for an entire week. Next, please. Okay, so this is how it works. Time will not permit me to go around it. From your app, once you plug in the bank box on your, I don't want to make mention of, okay, let me say XYZ Bank, right? A commercial bank, XYZ commercial bank. Now this is your app, XYZ app. You just click on, you just enter into your customer, enter into your app. Once the plugin is already there, then you click on process payment. This is just the 4 steps it takes. Process payment, you input your PIN, then it connects with a Bluetooth. You just put it on, it connects with a Bluetooth, and then yes, you input your. So you input the amount, you connect it with a Bluetooth, and then you input your PIN, and voila, it's there. You can also share the receipt to your customers via email for those that are doing financial accounting and the likes, and you can also share it to your customers via WhatsApp. So it's pretty much smart. So next, please. Okay, this is like for your dashboard for you to be able to show to your customers, like your merchants. You are a financial partner with Bankbox, and you have your own merchants that already bank with you. So you'll be able to see their dashboard and be able to like monitor how well they are doing, and be able to like even your marketing and all of that. You'll be able to fully cover everything that has to do with them. If your customers are into a part of your product, you'll be able to know how to channel in your advertisements and all of that into the A part for those customers. Then into B part, you know how to do that for them as well. Then next, please. Okay, this will be a lot because of time, but I'll just like us to move on to the next slide. Okay, this is the detailed insight to the real-time transactions. Thank you. Okay, all right, thank you very much. Well, this is just a detailed insight to the kind of transactions you see. So when you're on board, this is the kind of dashboard you see. Part of the dashboard. Let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, this is about assigning terminals. Once you are onboarded with Bankbox, XYZ Bank, these are the kind of what you just did, terminal assignment flow, last 10 digits, and all of that. So these are what you just need to follow. So next, please. Okay, this for dispute resolution, still on your dashboard. Customer retention, how you're going to retain your customers with the Bankbox. Next, please. It's still about how it works. I've explained that already as well. Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So, with my last minute, just a minute, please. I would like us to test run something. Okay, I would like us to test run something with the Bankbox, right? Michael, please. Okay, we have a video. I don't know if we might want to play the video after. That's why we played before now. Okay, we'll play it after now. Okay, so that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Jude, Bankbox, collecting from Amadio. You mentioned Amadio in your position, right? You don't collect money from Amadio. Wow. All right. Just thank you guys for your patience anyway. Past time basically, but we'll rush as fast as possible. Just one more good message. I trust it's going to take our time in giving that good message. Afterwards, we have a message from the Vice Chairman of CeBIH regarding CeBIH Academy. But before she comes on stage, we have one more good message from the Managing Director, Global Info Suite Consulting, Mr. Afolabi Oke. Round of applause. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Afolabi Oke, the Managing Director of Global Info Suite. I was saying a lot of my colleagues here, we've known each other for over 30 years in the industry. And some are still growing and they look very young. You can't deceive us. Ladies and gentlemen, this theme is actually very interesting, navigating the future of contactless payments, adoption, challenges, and success strategies. Distinguished members of the Committee of E-Business Industry Heads, our Honorable Chairman, please a round of applause for this amiable Chairman, the Vice Chair, and all the other members of the CB, I think you're doing a great job. They deserve a round of applause. Please, everybody, celebrate this people. My colleagues in the industry, first and foremost, I'd like to again congratulate the team for their commendable, unwavering dedication and tireless efforts in steering our industry towards innovation and excellence. Your relentless commitment to creating a robust digital payment ecosystem is and continues to inspire us all. It is indeed a job well done. I am proud this afternoon that we have been part of this transformation journey in the digital payment landscape for over 20 years. At Global InfoSwift, we believe that the future of payment is digital but also seamless, secure and contactless. Our experience as a company has taught us that adopting new technologies and strategies is vital for sustaining growth and competitiveness in today's fast evolving market. In Nigeria, we pioneered the adoption of standards because obviously security is a major issue when we're embracing technology. In 2009, we pioneered the certification of First Bank in 2009 to be the first commercial bank to be certified to information security in 2009. I don't know whether anybody in First Bank is here. Please a round of applause for them as well. In 2013, we got Central Bank certified to information security. That has led to the IT strategy, and I believe every year Central Bank comes to audit, a lot of the banks, again to strengthen our information security framework. Our partnership today, when it comes to contactless, is a company called CR2, which is a globally recognized omni-channel banking and payment solution provider. This company, we've been around for about 15 years thereabouts. It places us at the forefront of delivering advanced contactless solutions. CR2 innovative platform enables financial institutions to offer a truly integrated and personalized customer experience across all digital channels. What do I mean by that? A lot of banks today, you have for example, your mobile is down, and once your mobile is down, it probably sometimes affects all of the channels. Today, many people do not want to, the Gen Zs, they don't want to go to the banks. So it's important that every bank, all your channels are up and running at every time. We are the only company that can truly provide omni-channel solution to the financial sector. Why? Because we also handle, including your ATMs, everything on one single platform, and we're able to help you to manage it and also reduce a lot of cost. So again, the contactless payment solution we offer through CR2 are designed to address industry current challenges head-on. We understand that while the future of contactless payments presents numerous opportunities, it also comes with its own set of adoption challenges, ranging from technical integration and security concerns to customer awareness and regulatory compliance. Now, to navigate these complexities as an industry, our solutions are built around just 3 basic concepts. Number 1, the seamless integration. Our platform are designed to integrate effortlessly with existing systems. So it doesn't matter what you have, we're able to integrate with your legacy systems, ensuring a smooth transition to contactless capabilities without disrupting your current operations. We've done it for a few banks, and we believe that we can do it for any bank here. Number 2 is enhancing security. Enhanced security with increasing concerns around digital payments. Our contactless solutions incorporate advanced encryption and fraud detection technologies to protect both the financial institutions and, most importantly, our customers, which is the reason why we are in business, because of our customers. Now, number 3 is user experience. We believe that the future of payments lies in creating frictionless experience. Our solutions are centered on enhancing experience and ensuring quick and easy, secure transactions that drive customer satisfaction and, most importantly, customer loyalty. To truly harness the potential of contactless payments, I would like to share a few success strategies that we as an organization have adopted and we're advocating. Number one is collaboration and partnership. The rapid pace of technology advancement requires very strong partnership, and that's why I honestly celebrate, CeBIH for their partnership and working with different organizations. Collaborating with technology providers like CR2, like ourselves, ensure access to cutting-edge solutions that can be quickly deployed to meet your market demands. Number two is customer-centric approach. It is essential to keep customers at the heart of every single decision when it comes to embracing contactless, understanding their needs, educating them about the benefits of contactless payments, and addressing their concerns proactively will be key to driving adoption. Number three is regulatory alignment. Staying ahead in the payment industry also means aligning with evolutionary regulatory frameworks. Continuous engagement with regulatory bodies, especially central bank, will help in shaping policies that promote innovation while ensuring security and compliance. And last is embracing innovation. Lastly, fostering a culture of innovation within our organizations will empower us to adapt and thrive in a dynamic environment. So investing in research and development and encouraging creative solutions will keep us ahead of the curve. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, the future of contactless payments is bright, but it requires us to work collaboratively, embrace change, and stay committed to delivering secure, innovative, and customer-centric solutions. At Global Info Suite, we are excited about the possibilities that lie ahead, and we are eager to adopt the industry in navigating the future together. Once again, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to CeBIH for creating this platform. We can share insights and strategies and solutions together. We will continue to shape the future of digital payments in Nigeria and beyond. We're working on an event very soon that will also address some key areas in the industry very soon, working with CeBIH. We will give you a lot more information about that very soon. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. I promise I won't take too long. It's less than 5 minutes. I wish you all the very best. Long live CeBIH and long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okay. You really do well and give it to time. Thank you very much. Yeah. Next on the list, I'm not called you madam. No. Relax.
Chairman says no time for
no time, you know her. This is who she is. Very respectful, very mindful, very demure. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Vice Chair, Abidemi Asumo.
Let me continue from there. Very cute say. Yeah, thank you very much, Oscar. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me just ride on existing protocols. My name is Abidemi Asumo. I am the Vice Chairman, CeBIH. I work in Premium Bank as the Group Head in Business and Transaction Banking. We've been doing a lot here, and I know everybody has said a lot. And it's really about learning more things, knowing more things, talking about trends, and the things that we need to do better. And how else can we do it better? We can do it better, of course, by learning and learning and learning. We have to keep learning and learning, relearning, unlearning, and everything that has to do with learning. In view of that, CeBIH, Committee of E-Business Industry Heads, put together our own academy called CeBIH Academy. And what does CeBIH Academy do and stand for? It's very clear. We know the Japa syndrome. We know how we have been poaching from one another. So my chairman, I can steal from him. I can steal from another, maybe FCMB or Access Bank, and we are taking capacity from each other. Not just that alone. We are doing what again? We go to the switches. We go to the switch poach from one another. The schemes poach from, they take from one another. So obviously, there is a gap. There's a gap in capacity. And we thought that we could do something differently. And one of the reasons why we thought we should do something differently is also because we have the wealth of knowledge and experience. We deal with the switches, we deal with the processors as banks, we deal with various partners, vendors, and we know that the things that we see, we need to pass it on, having that wealth of experience. And we just don't do that alone. You know what we do differently again? We hold the money. That's what even stands us out, even from our partners. Because we do that, we know that we need to pass knowledge on. We know that, sometimes we struggle and we say that, oh, who is going to be my successor? Who is going to take this battle on to the next level? And so it's important for us that we continue to pass on the knowledge. And basically that's what CeBIH stands for. CeBIH Academy stands for passing that knowledge, building that capacity, especially focused on e-business and digital payments and finance. That's really what we stand for, and then we'll continue to do. So far, so good. We have trained over 1,000 staff from different banks, and we want to do more. We thought this is also an opportunity to share with you what we have been doing. We have these courses that, and look at it all. It's not in dollars, it's just in Naira. So we are saying, everybody come on board. Come and be part of this. We have additional programs that we're going to be doing in September, October, yes, in October. And why didn't we move it to other months? There are a series of programs and activities that CeBIH would also be bringing together. From our annual conference that will be coming up, let me just chip in that. And so for that annual conference, please don't miss it. It is going to be something else. It is going to be world-class, first-class CeBIH annual conference. Please take note of that. Let me come back to the academy. Beyond just our, maybe our subordinates that want to ensure that they have the adequate knowledge to drive digital payments and e-business, we are doing something differently too. We have partners, CeBIH Academy has partnered with Strathmore Business School in Kenya, and almost over 40 of us at senior leadership level will be going to Kenya in 10 days time thereabout, or 12 days time, and that's part of the certification that we are also doing to ensure that we are passing on the knowledge and CeBIH remains stronger and stronger in terms of capacity development. We hope to see you there for those that have missed this program, and we hope to see you there the next program that we'll be having sometime in January or February next year too. So I hope I've been able to convince you that you just have to be part of CeBIH Academy. Thank you very much, and thank you for your time so far.
Thank you very much, Bidemi, the Vice Chair, CeBIH. Thank you. I appreciate it. Next on the list is one of the key highlights for today. For those just joining us online, not a problem. You missed, but you didn't miss much because we're about to go into a very good session, right? These sessions speaks more to, we have various panelists right here who will speak to us about a very key trending topic, right? And in Nigeria, before you open the door for someone, the presidency usually, there's a door opener, a door opener, right? So I'm going to invite someone who is a very, very senior person in the industry. I want to speak much about him. His name is Frank Atta. Please welcome him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for still having patience to stay here. Let me stand on existing protocol. I don't know why we use that word. I guess we just need to go with it. And to say that it's been an interesting day. Fortunately for CeBIH, they made me the moderator because they didn't want me to be the speaker, so it's fine. I have the honor of introducing very important personalities, and just not to waste time, As I call their names, because I'm not going to look into as I call their names, they will make their way to the podium and have a seat. So Titi, please join me. Uncle, please join me. Ogo, please join me. They've been whispering to my ears that they need to give, so let's do this. Oh yeah. Join us. Let us join us. This is not going to be quick because outside the fact that they have expo from all the speeches and discussion that has happened, yeah, she will. When you introduce very important personalities, you have to be. You have stolen my seat. Go to your seat. So we'll try to make this very interesting. Like I said, there's been a lot that has gone on. I'm passionate about contactless. And a lot of the conversation that has happened today, that has taken place today, is pretty much setting the stage for what's to come. Isn't it ironic that the same card you use for your transactions locally is contactless, but it's not. You can't use contactless in Nigeria. That same card, when you leave this country to maybe Cotonou, you use the card. Do I blame the scheme or should I blame the banks? Who should we blame, please?
We want to know today.
Okay. So let me take my seat and start questioning. Please note that JAM question, WAEC question, NECO question, NBA question will be asked today. And for those online, you are free to ask questions as well. We need to challenge ourselves to do better. The last discussion we had around contactless, I think it was a month or two ago, you all like banks should not be competitive around these products. My friend from Visa says we are not competing. We are supposed to collaborate to support the process. Ajibade, whatever acronym they call him today, with his team has done a marvelous work discussing with CBN and they approved a draft. 2 years later, we are still at it. So please permit me to challenge the audience and those online to please ask, why are we not using contactless? If you go to, for those of you who have been to Yaiba several times, I remember then it was impossible to pay with your card because the man simply wanted cash. Today, Ajibade, how do we pay at Yaiba? We do transfer. We pay with POS. So if you're looking for somewhere to use contactless, why can't it be Yaiba? You know how much we love food in Lagos. So, bear with me, and to the panelists, I'm not going to use the questions that were sent to you because you've gotten exposed from Visa, Bandbox. So I'm just going to modify those questions to reflect the theme and to make sure that you're not exposed unnecessarily. So let me start with Michael, unfortunately. So, Michael, like I said, I'm not going to ask the question the way it's been put up here because some of the questions are futuristic, but let's deal with the issues that it's hitting us right now. What do you think we need to do to drive adoption of contactless payments? And I know that Visa spoke to it, but from your own perspective and from the experience you have so far around acceptance, what are the things you think we need to do? If you also then focus on the demography we have today in Nigeria.
This works, right? This works. Everything CB works.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for the question. To drive contactless in Nigeria, I don't think it's going to be a crazy process. And I'll probably give us a backstory. Coincidentally, the new chairman of CeBIH behind the scenes is supporting contactless even before he has in this role, and he has done a lot of work, especially, and we can attest to that personally. Today, we've been driving contactless for the past 4 years. The popular product, which is the card used on the BRT system, is one of our flagship products. And today, we have over 4 million people using that system every day. And what we've learned in that journey is, I'm not just coming from a theoretical perspective, I'm coming from an experimental position, is I think we need to do the things that we did in the early days. I remember in the early days where our senior brothers in industry came together to form the switch. And they came up with a product that at the end of the day became one of the best in the world, and it could compete anywhere in the world. And that's literally what we have seen in the industry, where at the early times we tried to take what was working in the UK or what was working in the US and try to fit our people into those boxes, and it didn't work. And we have to ask ourselves, how do we make this work for our domestic people? As I sit here, we've been able to crack some of those things, even from doing what we're doing in the transportation sector. And this is not experiment, these are the things that people are using today. But it needs us to sit at the table and say, banks, schemes, are you ready to follow this route? So for us, it is to solve this problem, we need to solve it locally and see how everybody comes into that local reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Your point around collaborating or supporting is very, very, very critical. And I think TT is a key partner in this industry, and I think she represents the processor. I suspect that was one of the reasons why she was selected to be on this panel. So TT, I'm going to ask you questions around security, but I also need you to touch on the comments made by Michael. And then you delve into why you think security-wise contactless can be successful. And if it is not going to be successful, what do we do to secure process of making payments? Remember, like my friend from Visa said, if you go to a fuel station today and they pay with card, they say they still have to deal with fraud. Now, they are doing juju, you put card without touching the terminal and yes, transaction successful. Why do you think those guys should use contact from the perspective of security?
Okay, so thank you very much. As usual, I think it's just important to first say a big congratulations to the chairman and the entire CeBIH executives for doing a fantastic job. And for one singular reason, I think you must have been well briefed by the women of timber and caliber that handed over to you. Because I noticed that you just hit the road and you started running. They really deserve a round of applause. All right, I think, let me start by saying one thing in laying the foundation to this conversation. The truth of the matter is that we are all, contactless for me is not, and this is my personal opinion, observing the marketplace. It's not entirely new. Everybody is doing one thing or the other. Everybody is at one implementation phase or the other. But the issue we have is that we are all still working in silos. So what is a merchant? Let's start from the issue. We have 4 key, let me just pick the 4 key guys in terms of stakeholders. You have the issuers, you have the acquirers, you have the merchants, and you also have the consumers themselves. What are we doing to connect these dots to start with? What are we doing? If the issuer is playing their part and the acquirer is not playing their own part, can we move forward with it? We can't. Even when the acquirer has played their part and they've done what they ought to do in placing those NFC and contactless and UPS terminals there, and the merchants are not carried along the way they understand, we will still not move. And when the merchants even have played their part, what about the consumers out there? So for me, the fundamentals to all of this is how do we connect the dots to start with? And I'll round it up with the popular saying that if you want to go fast, what do they say? Then you go alone. Like we have seen, some have really gone far. But if you want to go far, they'll say go along with others. So now, coming to the issue of security, because that is, for me, the fundamentals to all this conversation. But coming to security, let's start with the basic things that we need to do. Because what I've seen also in this industry is that Bank A is doing it. Let me also jump on it. I need to start to do it. But have you looked at what Bank A has for them to get to where they are? Have you put in place the things that Bank A has done to get them to where they are before you jump on it? Do you have what it takes? Do you have the capability? Have you assessed where you are, particularly in terms of security that you talked on? Don't also forget that the guys out there, the same way you are planning, and you know the guys I'm talking about, they're also innovating, they're also planning, they're also looking at how they can beat whatever you've done and hack into the whole process. So for me, security is very key, and we need to check what do we have in place in terms of a very robust security, in terms of the kind of certification you've done. Lisa talked about encryption, how important it is, otherwise somebody can come in between your transaction, and then how do you then get the customers to come on board? So those are the issues we need to first address in terms of security before we can even start talking about consumers coming on board. That would be my opening remarks.
Thank you, Titi. You're spot on about the need to go far or go fast. And it's really sad, if I have to say this, that most times we just want to do things in silos and not consider the entire consumer. And like Ajibade said one time, what will it profit Bank A to do contactless, and others cannot use the same? Bankbox has come and said, look, interoperability needs to be very key for contactless to work. If we do not cooperate with each other or collaborate with each other, how then do we deepen the acceptance process we have in mind? So it brings me to Ogo. Again, I suspect when you were selected for this panel, it was because of the background you have and the position you now hold in Abrico. What do you think technology providers, banks, all other stakeholders needs to do to drive contactless? Considering the fact that as a newbie in terms of issuance, this is some of the backdrops you need to rely on to push any product that you are selling into the market at the moment.
Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, for me, when I came in here and saw issuers and acquirers raising their hands and saying, let's go contactless, that was my first excitement. Maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago, it would have been card associations shouting about adopting contactless. So for me, I think that's a movement towards the right trajectory, and that is where people now begin to understand that a lot has been done around contactless payments. I mean, in terms of technology readiness, it's always been there. The major challenge we have with the adoption of contactless in Nigeria has been that of probably consumer education, because like Nkebet mentioned during her presentation, there's a lot of myths. I mean, just last week, a friend of mine that you would think knows much about payments will be telling you that why he wouldn't want to adopt contactless is that if somebody carries a PS7 around him, his card in his pocket will be debited and he wouldn't notice that. So you find out that in terms of technology, in terms of even securing contactless, coming from even the CBN's guidelines on contactless, you find a lot has been done. You can actually today give card control to your consumers. But the problem is the consumers that we are building projects, building solutions for today, are they aware of what we are talking about? Most times we have the best of solutions, but they remain in our banking halls or in e-banking quarters. We are unable to communicate, say, to the last mile consumer. So for me, it's really not about consumer today. It's truly not about the technology, but about consumer understanding of what has been put in place. The guideline has provided with the proximity distance between a card reader and a card device. So for someone to be saying that, oh, once somebody passes him with a POS device, his card is debited and therefore he wouldn't adopt it, you know that that's really a concern or a perception that we all need to change collaboratively. And for me today, the biggest message would be, as issuers who were really those that were driving again because of the perceived challenges of contactless in the past, if we are all convinced today that this is the way to go, then the real thing that we need to do is how do we manage consumer education so they understand that their cards can actually be protected. In fact, one of the things I tell people in many fora is that if you think somebody can steal your card and go and tap and get authorization, have you thought about someone stealing your money, being still able to, I mean, you're stealing your cash, still being able to use that the same money? While the money probably is gone, in the case of the contactless card, your card has limits that can protect you to the limit of exposure. There are things that can be tracked, and you can block those cards from further exposures because you have the right to opt in or to opt out, just like we mentioned during the CeBIH's presentation. That today the central bank's guidelines is very clear about what the technology should be, what the specifications of the terminal should be, and all of that. So that's really not the problem, but it's really how we educate the customers about the possibilities with the contactless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ugo. And I'll come back to you because it's important that we propagate the need for educating our consumers around what contactless can do and cannot do. And I guess sometimes when we see a lot of things online, it becomes the gospel truth, even though those can be demystified. Saying that somebody can use a POS and tap on your card and money will be missing is one thing. Making it disappear is another. And I think there are, like Titi said, there are measures to put in place to ensure such does not happen, especially in a country like ours, where things sometimes are taken on the front of it. So let me just move to Uchenna, who happens to be our innovation officer. Uchenna, you've come up with a product called Bankbox, correct? And I'm sure when you were doing that, you thought about the customer journey and the design that needs to go into it. So, what do you think is the driver for you for, one, acceptance, and two, from the issuance perspective? Know that with your solution, both players, both stakeholders need to be involved. So tell us, from your perspective, what do you think?
Testing CB mic. The chairman said that everything CB works. So I believe that contactless will still work. I mean, the chairman is an advocate of electronic banking. I've worked with him, fantastic person. So to the question, I've been listening to a lot of the speakers today. So whenever I listen, the border on three things: convenience, speed, and security. Whenever you're talking about contactless payment, and also I hear a lot about collaboration, right? So for us to be able to deliver the solution, even for innovators like us, convenience, speed, and security has to be demystified to every single layer or every single collaborator, let me put it like that. So in the journey, the visa lady mentioned that all of us have to work together. So convenience, speed, and security has to come in place in the layer from the issuer perspective, that's the banks, the processors, and also we, the innovators. Example of that, I saw the presentation from the head of risk at Providus, and they've done fantastic work. I didn't even know that they can tokenize their cards. So that's like a lot of convenience that a bank is thinking about when it comes about contactless. So they're thinking about convenience, they're thinking about speed. Tokenization is one aspect of security that can actually make contactless to become a real possibility in the country, in the ecosystem. So that's from an issuer. Now a processor, I see Obi is here from Zone. So a processor has to make sure that contactless payments can still be terminated from their switch. I need to be able to send a pinless transaction. I need to be able to send transactions that need to be authorized either by PIN or by biometrics or whatever the case is. So the processors have a very big role to play to make sure that, when an innovator is sending payments, it will go through. Then on my part, as an innovator, how do I bring together all of these to deliver last mile experience to the consumers? So I will just share a story with you guys. When we are developing Bandbox, I think we have a lot of players here that I would say that are older in the business before we came aboard. I see people from NetPos and our chief here. So while we are developing the Bandbox, we actually took around 15 months of research. We tried to discover what is the problem. I traveled to the UK. I used my phone and my card. I actually make use of one of the banks there, so I could tap almost anywhere and get through. I could tap either my card, I could tap my phone. It was really interesting. Even one of my cards from one of the Nigerian banks was also tapping in the UK. It was strange that we can't have that here. So what do we do? So we started researching how we can make that a possibility. So what we realized is that there is a huge opportunity in the market, but it's hugely defragmented. Now there is lack of technical capacity to be able to develop those things. So while we are coming up with a product, we are thinking about how we can put all of these together. So after the Bandbox was done, we started deploying into the market because we wanted to test it out with real consumers. I was blown away the fact that a 69-year-old Mama Amaka that owns a store in Trade Fair actually uses the Bandbox, knows how to operate it, and also we told her how the contactless works, and she understood it. So the question of can contactless work is a factor of education and a factor of building the tools and the infrastructure that's supposed to make it work. If the banks do their thing, the issuers do their thing, the card schemes do their thing, the processors do their thing, somebody needs to gather all of these innovations and put it together and deliver it to the customers, end to end. So the lady, she told me that, I took pictures with her, I posted on my LinkedIn, I was completely blown away by that. I didn't know that that could happen. A 69-year-old woman, she could use her smartphone and collect payments. So the Bandbox is one of those approaches. So companies that in our space when innovating, you need to think about security from the innovative perspective. How can you build a solution so that you go with the security and the guidelines laid down by CBN so that no one can do more than 15,000 naira on one of your devices? You need to put that in place. How can you ensure convenience? The issue of build is a problem. How do you help other institutions that can't build like you? So the Bandbox is a plugin that can be inserted into any legacy system so that all the banks don't need to build from scratch. It just cuts off all of that. And that's actually how we are adopting. If you're building, build to think about speed, think about collaboration, think about convenience for the customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Uchenna. Let me go back to Titi, and the reason why is from what Uchenna has said around the need for banks not to build it. Again, as a processor, how do you empower that process? How do you create a multi-tenancy platform where Uchenna can come to you and say this solution that will drive contactless across the industry? I need you to key into it. I need you to help support it.
Okay, thank you very much. Like you rightly said, as processors, the truth is, what's our role? We actually sit in between, all the various stakeholders to ensure that we then facilitate the process to completion. Not just that, we then also ensure this part of the security that we're talking about is part of our role to ensure that is it coming the way it ought to come? If it doesn't, then we kill the transaction just to protect everyone. So I'll say for unified payments, we are open to work with all fintechs, all banks. To start with, we are actually owned by a consortium of banks anyway. And like Ajibade said, I actually submit to him. We're actually your staff. You just call us and we'll be in your office. I mean, a number of you here, once you call us, we'll be there. We just have to come and report for duty. So please, we are readily available. And the truth of the matter is that we understand this very well. Is what we do, is our core. So we understand it very well. We are also acquirers, as you know, we play many roles. We are acquirers, and we've tested this out. Even all our terminals are already NFC, contactless enabled as we speak. But like I said, working in silos is one of the things that don't making it work. And I don't know if I can just mention just one thing to add to what my colleague mentioned earlier on. Yes, we are focusing this solely on educating the consumers. We need to let the consumers know this, understand this, and all of that. But I just beg to differ slightly by saying that the first step is for us to look inwards as service providers, and for each one of us to first evaluate where we are in terms of where am I? Do I have the capability to do this now? Do I have a robust security management system to also jump on this? Do I have the right monitoring tools to actually monitor these transactions and be sure that, yes, you are in a good position? So now take it to your consumers to say, yes, we can support this. You can then start to build the trust of the consumer. So I just think that at this point we need to, look inwards and try and do some level of assessment before we now, go out there to the consumers. Thank you.
Thank you, Titi. And you are spot on. We need to internalize a lot of things around contactless in terms of infrastructure, support, and the things that will make adoption very quick before we go into the market. And I think a lot of the things you've touched on is around partnership and collaboration. If you know where your weakness is and know where your strength is, you exploit on it so that we can move far and not fast. So, Ugo, let's say all of us in this room today start using contactless. What do you think will be the economic impact?
Yes, I think we can't imagine the kind of impact adopting contactless will have in our macroeconomics in Nigeria. Today, you can imagine where the monies that are within the transport sector is digitized. I mean, you would look at the Danfo people moving around, the Kenya peps, all able to accept payments. Look at the micropayments, things on the tolls, the tolling gates and all of that being digitized. Look at the retail payments and all such environments. When there is speed, it means that there will probably be more transactions, more streamlined transactions, and therefore people are more empowered. One of the things we're even looking at is, again, Michael, spoke a bit about it, is that not just adopting contactless payments for the world adoption, but adopting it the Nigerian way and understanding the pain points in terms of payments in Nigeria, and then working to solve problems that Nigerians have. What is the fear of the average man on the street in accepting payments? It's really, am I sure that I will have my money for the value of exchanging? That's really the fear. We are trying to reduce or kill cash. But if the average man on the street is still afraid that, I'll discount if I release value and I don't get instant payment. And that's where the likes of Afrigo, where I work, are trying to innovate around making sure that every merchant that accepts card payments, be it contactless or contact, receives instant settlement, and therefore being empowered to do more in a day. So the kind of impact that we have in Nigeria is something that we can't even imagine here. I think it's very huge. Thank you.
And thank you, Ugo. Let me also add that in terms of economic planning, sharing resources, when all of the informal payment comes into formal sector, it gives the government a better opportunity to allocate resources. So just imagine contactless taking off. It will quadruple the number of transactions we see today on our devices or on the channel. So I think it's also very important, Michael, as I come to you, that you let us know what it is you can do to incentivize your 4 million users on the need for them to start embracing contactless payments.
Okay. I think that question is actually that question should actually have gone first. And I don't mean to shake any table. I listened to what Madam Titi said and what she said about internalizing. I think to a large extent, I think we are overthinking some things. And I will shake the tables. I was listening to these ladies, the Vice President of the US, her debate, and she said something. She said, "Oh, she's been a prosecutor, she's been a senator, vice president, and in that career path, she has realized that her first customer is a citizen." And I would love to borrow from that. I think in this sector, a lot of us have not really gone to the customer. And you said something. I said you can imagine the economic effect that contactless. I'm telling you, you don't need to imagine. I do it for the state government today. And I can tell you for free, as a matter of fact, what they're enjoying from it. For the first time in this country, we have been able to do a subsidy system where we're not handing out cash to the people on the streets. For the first time in this country, the government has been able to do a 50%.
Please, can we run our legs together? That is not how to give you a round of applause.
So
you should repeat it.
Oh, for the first time in this country, we've been able to do a subsidy system where the government is not handing cash to people. Now the government is able to digitize those subsidies because we are controlling the payment through contactless on transportation sector. So it means if you have a contactless card, you can tap on a transport system and you enjoy 50% subsidy, and you don't have to pay the full. The government is not giving out cash or asking for any of the old things. And what we need to understand.
Sorry, Michael, can you pause? I want that to sink in. So maybe we just take 10 seconds to let that sink in. Because I want people to ask questions after this period. 10 seconds. It may not even be up to 10 seconds, maybe 5 seconds. Just the impact of that alone to the state economy, not federal. Please go ahead.
So for us, it is not internalizing. It is actually trying to understand what the consumer wants. And let's look at contactless as well. Places where contactless are flourish, beyond your retail payments, you go to the airports if you travel, people trying to get cards today, you use contactless to pay. And just one device can end up in a day processing maybe 2 million transactions. And I'm not exaggerating. Today, I doubt if any POS terminal can process 2 million transactions in one day. Those are the kind of problems that we face every day. So the real conversation is, can we actually go to these people and see where their pain point is before we internalize? We heard about security. Today, an average transaction in a bus today is 70 people trying to enter a bus in 5 minutes. Now tell me, how do you want your POS to handle that? 70 people trying to get on the bus in 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And that is just one bus, and we have over 2,000 or 3,000 buses in a day. So if you are thinking about security in the context of what you are used to, you are going to miss the point. So what I'm saying in essence is, we need to go out there to understand where, if we are trying to build contactless on the existing infrastructure, we might not be scratching any surface. We've done a fantastic job with providing POS terminals, the bank cards is working. It will take a lot to change the behavior around that sector. But there's a huge sector in the informal sector that it is competition against cash. And we really have little to no idea in how to solve that problem. And most of the time, people wear the hats of the existing infrastructure, bringing it into that sector. And you wouldn't even know that it's just something small that these people need, and it will solve it. And I listened to what Uchenna said around the 69-year-old woman, I've had interesting cases of people, our own system works offline. People are just saying that, oh, there was no network, I didn't know, and it works. We need to create a credit scoring system, new innovation because we understand what the user wants. Thank you.
You are clapping for yourself. It's okay. Okay, let me put this into perspective, and Uchenna, I'll come to you shortly. Let me put it into perspective, just in case you didn't hear what Michael was saying. What he's saying is that we are not doing enough. We don't go out enough to engage the last mile, to understand the pain point. See, payment is not about providing devices to accept. Payment is about understanding how to solve all the issues. And we need just much more than having conferences or having seminars to address those things. The processor needs to be part of the process. Processor needs to be part of the process. The issuer needs to be part of the process. Issuer issuing, is issuing the process. The operator needs to be part of the process, operating the process. Whether it's a 60-year-old, 69-year-old woman, or a 73-year-old man, listen, guys, we might be in the urban area today and we think things are working well. Just 2% of the things that we see is what we hold on to. If you go into the informal interiors, you will discover that there's still a 75-year-old man who is doing sawmill and needs to get paid, but he's not finding how that can happen. And I believe that that's where I feel contactless will really, really thrive. Because for them, they want to be able to accept payment, process it, get paid. And there's nothing stopping the remaining 100 and something million plus who don't have a bank account to have bank account because of contactless. So there's a whole lot. So I mean, I know we were applauding Ajibade for doing a good job. I'm not applauding him because until we start to see the results. Ajibade, remember that the last session we had, we agreed that a few banks will put together and drive this. I'm hoping that you will still bring that up today, and we will add some of the key stakeholders within this panel to be part of that. We just really need to take this to the market and quickly as well. And just back to Uchenna, again, the reason why it's important that your contribution should matter is because you've developed a product in one way that is addressing the acquiring bit. And I think it's important you also share, beyond the 69-year-old my experience, what are some of those key points you've taken out of the deployment? Because I assume that you're still in the pilot phase of your product. And so you should be sharing experiences with us on some of the things you've seen and how you think that if TT supports you, Ugo supports you, and Michael supports you, and even all the financial institutions here and players today in this room supports you, then in a year's time, we'll be applauding ourselves for doing a good job.
Thank you, Mr. Khan, for the question. So, I mean, after building, there comes another question about distribution. Now, one interesting thing we discovered in the market is that 65% of the cards issued are still not yet NFC enabled. It's one of the biggest factors that is actually impeding the progress, right? And just like not too long ago, POSs was not a thing. I mean, you could just see a very few POS. Now POS is everywhere. I believe that there is still like some work to be done. It's still going to take a little bit of time. And those cards need to phase in wave, which will take typically around 3 to 5 years for those cards now to go away. And the CBN is making a lot of efforts. And they mandated Verve to make sure that all new cards that are going to be issued are now contactless. So that's a very good move. So we are just in the right direction. Now the next thing that now needs to happen is our SMEs, our businesses, our individuals in the rural areas, the institutions are the ones that need to go to them. Because someone mentioned, I think it also go, that actually the banks can actually have opportunity for you to increase your limits on your card or make it contactless or allow contactless payment, but you might not know, except they come to you with a solution that, okay, you can actually use this to accept this type of payment easily without having to lift a finger. You can do it from the comfort of your mobile phone. So that education gap needs to happen. So what we need now as an innovator is we want partnership with the banks. The banks are the ones that have direct connection with these people. I have bank in my village. I grew up in my village. I spent first 15 years in the village. I never saw anything that had to do with the city, right? So in my village, I still visit. There are banks there. There is First Bank, there is Wema Bank, there is almost all the banks in my village. My village is a real village. It's not maybe diluted village. So all the banks are there. So with appropriate collaboration, with the tools that we made, that we spent so much years in research, they don't need to do all of that. All we just need to do is to plug and play smoothly into their existing operation to deploy this solution quicker to the businesses, whether in the rural areas, whether in the urban areas, wherever. And this, Mr. Jiman, I think you need to hear this. Your goal can actually be actualized in a shorter time if we use this approach. We give you the solution, we embed, massive distribution can happen in the ecosystem in a very short time. And that's actually how I look about it.
Thank you, Eugene. Ajibade, you need to hear this. His worry is that in his village where there is Wema Bank, he is unable to deploy contactless. And he's guaranteeing you that if you work with him, that might just be the turning point for contactless in his village. And he says his village is not the packaged village, it's the real village. I don't know what that means anyway. So it's more like a clarion call to Ajibade to say, look, let's start from my village. And like I pointed out earlier, it's important that, Nigeria is not a normal economy where things will work the way it should work, really. Because why should you start in the village to deploy contactless? It should normally be where you think payment will thrive fully. But the irony is, the way agency banking has also thrived in the village is the way I think contactless will. So maybe we should start from there and bring it back. Because there are two whys here. I mean, no matter how much we say it, we think we are educated, some of us still fall for the scams they send to us. Do you expect somebody who's financial literate to fall for that you have won 10 million from a game that you never participated and you should show your details and then you still share the details? So I mean, a lot of things borders on how well we are aware of what we need to do. So I think it's important that some of those things are taken in and it's internalized. I do not want to bore the panelists with more questions, so I'd rather allow, if we have questions from the audience, for them, those ones are really impromptu and it's something that I believe will pay them for them to ask. So if we have questions from the audience, we'll take that then, and I'm hoping that we also have questions from those online. So we can take a couple of questions from those in the audience right now, or those sitting and facing, so that we can then look. If not, if you have questions online as well, you do? Oh, okay. Me to check if there are questions online. But please feel free to ask from the audience. But I mean, while we are doing that, let me also turn back to Michael, because he seems to have a full grasp of what we need to do around contactless. And since he's working with the state, Michael, please tell us how much the state government has saved from the project, the driven through contactless. I mean, it's important because cost is also another reason why a lot of the stakeholders will want to drive contactless. Trust me, cost is. I remember one time that I think it was at IKEA, they were paying for stuff. I mean, I've been using contactless, I was quite happy with it. So things we paid for then, I got to find out was more than £100. So I think they punched maybe 120 or 130 pounds, and I used my contactless card to pay. And the lady said, she tapped the card and it debited £100. And she said, oh, I need to pay the other with either another card or cash. And I said, why? I said, because my limit was £100. That struck me as, oh wow, so there's even a limit for this. Because I was so excited to just tap. This was 4 or 5 years ago, so I mean, it's not just now. So, and that's cost safe, because if they put a limit of £100, the government is saying, or the merchant is saying, look, this is where my risk exposure stops, and this is how much I'm willing to pay for it. Those who want to do more than that, of course, have to go through other assessments for that to happen. So, I mean, that example is just for you to be convinced that if you tell us what cost savings has happened to the government, it then tells us that we're still on the right path.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Frank. And I'll probably just start with this, some small facts. Before we came in 2020 to work with the state officially, and before our coming in, the state has the BRT scheme has been in existence about 13 years. And when we deployed our contactless solution, was the first time in 13 years that the government started making money for the first time. And this was not a reported money that they are depending on, for instance, the bus operators to pay them. This was, they are taking their money from source when every commuter makes their payments. And in terms of cost saving, the first thing that they are first making money. The government's role was to provide the infrastructure, and private companies can put buses on the road. But now there's no way for them to make money from the private buses. But now we provided infrastructure, so the first thing that they make money. The second thing that they were able to do, which was very impactful, was to, in the hard times, get across to the citizens. And from where we sit, in terms of using contactless to process even the microtransactions, we've been able to achieve some very, very ridiculous conversation. Beyond discounts, we have data. We're able to see some credit scoring. We're able to provide data to our partner banks for micro-lending to even the bus operators. So I will never look at it from a cost saving, I look at it from a situation of impact. When the transactions come in, we're able to do so much in terms of data.
All right, thanks. You can't actually provide the feedback on cost saving, but I understand you need to stay by your NDA that you signed. So it's fine. We have a few questions from the audience, online. I think all audience. Okay, all right. And I'm just going to throw it open because the questions, it's global in terms of perspective. So I'll just allow any of the panelists to opt to answer the question. The first question is on us not having enough NFC-enabled devices. Let me just read verbatim. From the little research I've made, for contactless payment to even try, we need mobile devices that are NFC-enabled, yet their percentage is very low. NFC-enabled phones are quite expensive. How can this gap be bridged? It is on record that 70% of transacting devices, or devices like Intel, Techno, and Infinix, does not come with NFC-enabled capabilities. So the person is asking, how do we bridge the gap where most of the devices are not NFC-enabled? I know the answer, but I'll allow any of the panel members. So who wants to go?
I will take that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Why I offered to take that is because, just like the person asked, realize that also while we are performing our research. I mean, while we are in the research, Providence launched their soft POS, right? And while it's a fantastic solution, we knew that there might be issue of scaling it up. FCMB also launched. We also know that there will be issue of scaling it up. Sorry, I'm going back to my village a lot. People in my village use smartphones, right? It's a real village where they use smartphones. But their smartphones are not high-end. High-end is that it doesn't have NFC capabilities. And like I mentioned also, there is 5% of cards that are not NFC enabled. So that's why we came up with the bandbox, a device that is cost-friendly, affordable, doesn't require your device to have NFC, because that's the only way we can actually start to penetrate into the market and even drive the solution. And also, one more thing, Mr. Frank, is the big POS devices that are NFC enabled, because of the dollar rate today, are almost unbuyable. I don't know if there's a word like that. They're almost unbuyable because each of them costs like, let's say $120. Today it's like 250,000 naira. And you give it to a merchant that does only 50K daily. It will take you 6 years to recover your 250,000. It's impossible. It doesn't make any business sense. So the stakeholders would take a back seat on moving forward. But if we have something that can actually work for these micro businesses, for small people that do like maybe 50K, 100K, micro transactions, to have something that doesn't break the bank for both the processors, the issuers, the merchants themselves, doesn't require the small business owner to have an NFC phone, then we have a winning solution. And that's why I think that the bandbox will be a very key addition into the ecosystem. And we are not taking it by ourselves. It's free for all the banks. Anybody can roll out the same solution by Glados to your own merchants that actually need the solution to try. Yeah.
Sure. Please go ahead.
Okay, let me just add to that. You talked about the limitations we have with smartphones. And I also don't think that we need to box ourselves to a corner with contactless only. And that's the reason why I mentioned that we need to do a need assessment in the first place, where I'll still say it again, that we need to look inward first and do a need assessment. And that need assessment is not just about our infrastructure, it's also about our consumer segmentation. So you have a segment of your market that definitely they have smartphones, they have NFC enabled smartphones, but you also have some segments that all they have is feature phone. So how do you capture such? Today, we have pay by telephone number. Everybody has a phone number, and we can always explore that. The only reason that people still run away from that is, hey, so in such instance, when my transaction fails, do I get my money back quickly? And we also have that capability in this industry, where you can actually have near instant reversals and you get some money. So those are the areas that I think we need to focus on to bridge that gap for such segments.
Thank you so much. Before I ask the second question, if we have questions from the audience here, please get ready to ask. The next question is from another of our listeners. They're asking, and I think, Ugo, maybe you should take this. What can CBN do to ensure that consumer education happens and is effective? And how can every stakeholder plug into this?
Well, I think in terms of consumer education, I wouldn't limit it to the CBN. It's something that collaboratively every person, every stakeholder within the industry has to be involved, because at certain points, every consumer that you meet, all touch points that both the issuers and acquirers have to engage with the consumer is an avenue to educate. So if you look at, the audience here, you can imagine where all the banks here today send either text messages or emails to all their customers about the things we're talking about here today, the kind of impact it will have. You can imagine where we have localizations around all customer acceptance touch points, be it ATM, be it POS device, or every other touch point where we encounter the consumer. And we're able to display one thing or the other that tells the consumer the benefits of contactless adoption. I think we will go a long way. The CBN will probably just give a general overview of what should be communicated, which I think they've done in their guidelines. If you look specifically at their guidelines, section 6.8, it typically talks about what issuers should do to consumers in terms of consumer education. 6.2.8 talks about what acquirers should do about merchant education and all of that. So the central bank is actually to provide the guidelines, but eventually the direct communications will be to the people that keep the customer information and which I think are the issuers. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ego. I'm sure you're a lawyer for you to even remember to quote a particular section of that. All right, thank you so much. I'm bringing this discussion to an end, but I would also like to make my own comments around the need for. Okay, we'll just take one question because I think at the point we lost the audience, but we've gotten them back now. So I'll just take one question before I round up. Please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. My name is Fego. I'm country manager for Newland Payments. Mine's not a question, it's more of a contribution to the conversation. And first of all, I must appreciate every of my senior colleagues on the panel. You've done justice to a very interesting topic. However, I think a few things still need to be taken into consideration in addition to some of the things that you've mentioned. One of the major reasons, also I want to thank the card schemes here. I remember the days of, permit me to say, M-Visa. There was a lot of buzz and a lot of hype in the industry, and it somewhat drove adoption for a while, but it eventually went back for some reasons. Those are other forms of contactless payments, if we all agree to that. However, the major reason why I feel like it might still take some time for adoption is the user journey to complete a transaction on contactless. If the user flow or the user journey is not straightforward or is not smooth, then it becomes difficult for people to adopt that channel. The idea of what we're doing here is to bring simplicity, convenience, and ease. If we don't make that reflect in the user flow and the user journey of the end customers, like Titi mentioned that there are many people within this chain. The processors are there, the consumers are there, the acquirers are there. If you don't make it easy for them, it becomes a lot difficult for adoption to happen. So we must make it easy, number one. Number two also is that I think we all know that the card schemes, the foreign card schemes had pushed for contactless, for every card issued at, I think as at 2017 or thereabout, to be contactless. But the local card schemes came on board a lot later. I believe that's also one of the reasons Uchenna was speaking to, saying that some of the cards issued already in the market are not fully contactless. Now, once that is fully done, it becomes easier to drive adoption because a lot of people already have these cards. Thanks to some of the fintechs out there, they've also made this easy by providing touch points for people to receive their cards. So once that is also done, I believe that the card schemes, the banks, everybody can come together to drive adoption. As an industry also, we shouldn't make some of the mistakes we made with QR. I think QR, I don't know if Nips is here, when NQR was launched, I think it was rushed, and it wasn't properly mapped out. And so we shouldn't make the same mistake with NFC payments like we're trying to do. The first, we'll take it in phases. Let's get people comfortable with paying NFC with their cards, and after that, we get them comfortable with wearables and other forms. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think I don't have anything to say anymore because you've captured most of the things I wanted to summarize with. So I'll just say thank you to Ugo, Titi, Michael, and Uchenna for providing all the necessary insight and doing a lot to explain why we need to accept contactless. And to everybody, please don't forget the village visit to Uchenna's place. Thank you so much. All right.
Wow, thank you very much for those wonderful conversations. And it's been an enriching conversation. I've been writing and writing notes. So I was given, I'm meant to have 5 minutes, but it's been shortened to 2 minutes, just because we have our customers in mind. So we're actually thinking for our lovely, beautiful audience that have been here, and we want to say a very big thank you for making it waiting till this time. And it's been a very wonderful conversation that we've had. My job is not too simple, but I will make it simple because of the little time that I have. The discussion of contactless has been a very wonderful conversation. And I was trying to research around countries that have adopted contactless and discovered that, oh, Sweden and some of those countries abroad have actually gone far in these contactless discussions and implementation and adoptions that we are talking about. So quickly, let me do a synopsis as my job was highlighted for me to do. We've had wonderful sessions. Every single person that has talked about this topic have done a very great job at this. But let's not forget that contactless has been in existence for quite some time, even in Nigeria. And thankfully that Michael had actually even shared his experience around the real life case that he has had to witness through the cowrie cards that they've supported over time. So yeah, we have something to actually resonate with when it comes to contactless transaction. And we could also see the use cases, buses, train, and all of those are what we could actually resonate with that contactless have been used. First of all, we had a very wonderful session by our chairman, the chairman of CeBIH, that has also introduced us and welcomed us into this contactless conversation. After which we had our special guest touch on major topical issues, and good enough, Providence Bank had actually also pushed some of these nuances and narratives in the sector. And part of what he said was that we need to, in driving this contactless, we also have to begin to introduce incentives and promotions, also look at ways to also educate and create awareness campaigns to customer and merchant partnership. If there has been anything that have been, if we are not taking anything away here, one thing that came across all the conversation is actually collaboration. And somebody said collaboration is the new competition. So, and that's important for us to also begin to see how collaboration is very important in this contactless conversation. And good enough, we have all the stakeholders. And just as the chairman said too, during his welcoming speech, that everybody here, if we cannot trash the issue of contactless in this room, then who will? So we are taking this conversation further. The conversation does not end here. We'll continue those conversations. I was also happy to also hear that about 4,000 participants are online, meaning that this topic is a very important topic at this time. And so, despite the fact that we need to drive it also it was highlighted that collaboration is key, as was said. Oscar also mentioned something about maybe it's high time we begin to look at voice pay, then facial pay. But at least let's even solve this problem of this contactless that we have first. Let's even solve this, then graduate it further to voice pay and facial pay. But definitely I can tell you and be rest assured that those technologies will start evolving across advanced country, just trying to use facial payment and voice pay as Oscar has mentioned. Overall, Visa actually presented a very wonderful presentation, and beautifully the myth that we have about contactless, and that has been dispelled from the conversation and presentation that Visa presented at this time. And part of what he said is that our overall competition is cash. My competition is not the other banks there. My competition, competition for the card scheme is not Visa, it's not MasterCard. It's actually the cash that we all want to address and take away to the large extent. She talked about so many things that we can actually resonate with. One thing that she also said that I can resonate with was when we have the SDA and the DDA. I can remember that project very well, when our cards used to be static authentication, and we moved to dynamic authentication, all in preparation for this contactless. Now that we have arrived at the contactless, it's high time we begin to push accordingly. Then Global Accelerators also came to tell us about how obsolete some of the terminals in the market that we have is also impeding the success of contactless. And he also came up with the fact that it's high time we began to segment the market and look at how it can work. One thing he also said, which was instructive, is the need for partnership. Partnership is very important. And I'm very happy that we still have quite a number of all of us here still waiting just to see how this conversation can end. Bank boss, and from the conversations that we have on the panel, if there's anything that struck out, we could see that Bank Box was trying to use every avenue to also make us begin to think about Bank Box. Good job that you did there, and all the panelists actually did very big justice and good justice to some of this conversation. As I said, time will not permit me to continue to speak and speak and speak. Let me appreciate everyone for having taken this time to be here in this period. One thing that is sure is that we'll continue to make it easy for us to begin to discuss the conversations around contactless, and this conversation does not end here. This conversation continues until we are able to get to the promised land. On this note, this is the time that we say, are you blessed? And somebody in the church will say, So I want to believe that we've been blessed, and I want to believe that this conversation will continue. And with that, let me invite my Honorable Treasurer of CeBIH to come and have the closing remark. Shola, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, thank you everyone, and I'm sure we enjoyed the session. I want to thank everyone here, every stakeholder that has participated, from our big aunties in the industry to all the other players. We want to say thank you. This is not the end of the contactless game. We are going to bring this on again until we crack it and we get it right. That is our promise to you, and we thank you for staying with us. We thank you for participating. We do not take it for granted. And lastly, launch is set. Thank you.
Yes, so let's do one small cheer. When I say let's go, you say contactless. Let's go. Let's go.